Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already, we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on more AI-based text logic. That said, guys, I'm really bored of this topic, so today I'm going to be concluding it because I don't want to spend a lot of streams. It's almost been I think about 15 streams that I've been doing the AI-based text logic. That said, let's go to my gameplay screen. And also, guys, the reason I am moving on is because I thought that eventually I could add a generative AI in my actual game logic, but then I realized that there's a difference between actual game AI and generative AI. So let's say something let's say I'm live. Okay, and there are a lot of different AI content instead of just text-based. I feel like I did kind of master the text-based section. That said, let's see. Focus people, you're live, which means this is not practice, this is the arena. Today is not about being perfect, it's about showing up, thinking clearly, and pushing one step at a time. Past yesterday's limit. Yesterday you touched level 6, structure, state, logic, consequences. Most people never get that far. You did it on stream with confusion, with doubt, with chat watching. That matters. Remember this quote from the stream. And yes, the same name, the master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried, guys. It feels like the same exact quote that I heard a quote from the assassination classroom. That's it now. Sit straight, hands on the keyboard, no rushing, no panic. We build things. Okay, we build things that think one decision at a time. And all that stuff. I won't be going on to stage 7 and all that stuff because I feel like I don't want to learn or make a generative AI slash a chatbot that I did think before I could add a chatbot in my game logic. But apparently that was kind of wrong, guys. That said, this is my code from last stream. I'm going to be deleting this code because today I'm going to be writing a code that consists of my entire game logic type stuff. That said, to begin, let me firstly start off by including a prof ankle braces. Let's say I want to include IO stream. And next up, since I will be using SDL3, let me go ahead and include a prof ankle braces again. I want to include SDL3 slash SDL.h, which is SDL3 and SDL's header files. After I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and include, let's say, the true texture font of SDL. Instead, I might actually include map. Okay, I can't think of anything else that I want to include right now, so I'm going to be including stuff as I go. Okay, so firstly, let me start off by creating a class called something like chat. This is going to be where all my main chats content is be going on. And then I'm going to add a prof curly braces. Now, would my chats class need any kind of parameters? Actually, any kind of protected data members or data members in general? Maybe I might need, I don't know, maybe a few public data members. The first data member is going to be something like a standard string of, let's say, something like input text. This looks for the text that my user actually types on a window. I'm going to be setting that equal to empty pair of quotes because my user didn't type any text on the window just yet. Next up, let's see, I might need a vector as well to store my message history because that's what my player is going to be like. That's what my NPC will be looking at and responding accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead and include vectors since I will be using vectors. Okay, so let me go ahead and include a standard vector with a prof ankle braces. Okay, let's see, my vector is only going to be consisting of standard strings. So I'm going to go with something like standard string, and my vector is going to be called something like history. Did I spell history correct? There we go, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done creating a vector, I don't actually think that I might want to create something right now. So I'm going to go ahead and let's add a comment that says something like methods. Bro, can you teach HTML and CSS? Honestly, I haven't learned HTML and CSS yet, but that does sound kind of cool. I do want to eventually go over those. Okay, so next up, I'm going to go ahead and create a few methods. These are going to be the methods that I'm going to actually be using to display my text on window type stuff. So firstly, I want to work on my players' methods. My player might need something like a void method called something like player text event, HISTORY. Oh, guys, I keep messing up my spellings because I get so many typos. There we go. So the first, not history, it's history. Guys, actually, it does make sense. Okay, that's it. The first method is going to be player text event. So this is going to be my player's text event. Hi again, Rush. I appreciate you joining the stream. Then I'm going to go with the prof parentheses. Now, my player text event is going to be requiring a parameter, which is going to be something like a constant parameter of my SDL underscore events structure, which consists of a events' memory address. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to go with the prof curly braces. Now, inside my player text events method, I'm going to go ahead and let's say use the SDL underscore key codes structure, which is going to be represented by a keys as a variable, and I'm going to be setting that to be equal to, I don't know, maybe event.key.key, ending with a semicolon. Not player, not play it. Guys, I keep messing my spellings. I gotta work on my typos. I think I might need some coffee for that. Okay, guys, I feel like I'm awake now. I gotta pay more attention on my typos. Okay, now I'm gonna be using switches for this. So I'm gonna go with, actually before switch, I'm gonna use an if statement to look for an event type. I'm gonna check if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. Okay, before I go with key underscore down, I'm gonna go with something like text underscore input. What this event type actually does is it like looks for if my player is typing something on my keyboard. If it is, then I'm gonna do something. I realized I'm going to be requiring a parameter of boolean chat on as well. Basically, what the chat on boolean is going to do here is it's going to check if my chat is currently on or off. So I'm going to be adding an if statement here to check something like chat on. Only while my chat is on, I'm going to go ahead and check if my user types something. So I'm going to get that inside my if statement. If my chat is on, if my user types something, I want to increment or increase. So let's go with something like increase my input text by, let's say, my event.text.text. So now whatever my user types, it's going to be stored inside of my input text variable here. There we go. Hold on, guys, let me fix my typo real quick. Okay, once I'm done with that, that's actually pretty much it for my first event type. Now, I'm going to look for a second event type. I'm going to check if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. This event type looks if any of my buttons on my keyboard are currently being pushed down. If it is, then I'm going to do something. I'm going to add a switch, okay, because I'm going to be using switches here. My switch is going to be having a condition of my key. Then I add a case to look for the exact button that's being pushed down. For my first case, I'm going to check if my SDL's key is something like backspace. If my user is pushing down the backspace, then I want to do something. Firstly, I want to check if my, if something is actually written in my window, which is my input text is not completely empty. So I'm going to check something like if parentheses, if not my input text dot empty, if my input text is not empty, if at least something is written in my window, then I want to go ahead and delete that. So I'm going to go with something like input text dot the pop underscore back function, ending with a semicolon. What the pop underscore back function actually does is it like removes an alphabet or like removes an element from the last of whatever I have it stored in. So it's going to remove my T from my input text, and then X, and then E, and then T. You guys get the gist of it, how backspace works. Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and break, because we do got to break in like cases. Now, for my second case, I'm going to go ahead and check if my SDL's key is, I don't know, maybe return. Return is basically enter in my keyboard. If my user clicks enter in my keyboard, then I want to go ahead and check if there's at least something written on my window. So I'm going to go with something like if not input text dot empty. If my input text is not empty, then I want to go ahead and display whatever I typed on my window on my console. So I'm going to go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to say something like you, and then I'll go with another insertion operator, go with something like my input text is variable. There we go with another insertion operator of a standard inline, ending with a semicolon. Hold on, guys, let me fix my typo maybe. There we go. Okay, now once I'm done displaying whatever I typed on my window to my console, I'm gonna go ahead and, let's say, store that stuff in my vector as well. So I'm gonna go with something like history, there we go, history dot the push underscore back function. I want to push back, let's say, something like my input text on my vector. Okay, and then I end this with a semicolon. And once I'm done displaying whatever I typed on a window on my console, once I'm done storing that in my vector, I want to clear that as well, because I don't want anything to be stored in my input text anymore. So I'm going to go with something like input text, hold up guys, there we go, input text dot the clear function. So I clear my input text, ending with a semicolon, then I break because this is a case. Okay, and that's actually very much it for my player text events function. Now I'm gonna go ahead and exit outside of this function. There we go. Here's the thing. Do I want to create my display player text on window function here as well? I might actually do that. So I'm gonna go with something like a void method called something like display player text on a window. Okay, hi, what are you coding? Can you give some context? Honestly, I'm working on AI-based text, actually text-based AI. Yeah, I think it's AI-based text logic in SDL3 using C++. Basically, what that means is I'm trying to make my NPC respond to my player depending on his mood. So his mood change depending on what I actually type and what majority stuff is stored inside my vector, like majority keywords stored in my vector. Depending on that, my AI's mood change type stuff. That said, let's see. So I might go with something like player text on window. Now my display player text on window is going to be requiring a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be SDL underscore render, so it renders this parameter. The second parameter might be a font, so I'm going to go with something like TDF underscore font, okay, which is going to be represented by a fonts as local variable. Okay, the reason I can't use my TDF underscore font is looks like a chatbot. Honestly, it's something like a chatbot, but I might eventually, like, my goal was to like implement like a generative AI slash a chatbot inside of my game. But many of you guys did say that that is going to be like really hard, and it's like different from like game AI. Like game AI and generative AI is kind of different. So I was like, might as well work on the game AI stuff right now, and then later on, once I am going to like after my C++ for 100-day series, I am going to be using Python. So I'm going to be using Python like in my C++ projects. I'm going to try to use C++ for like my basic game logic and Python for like the AI logic, if that makes any sense. That said, now I'm going to go ahead and include my SDL3 underscore TDF slash SDL underscore TDF.h, which is my SDL3's true texture font and all the header files for my true texture font. There we go. I'm going to go with a pointer towards my font. And is there any other parameters that I might need? Okay, I can't think of any for the time being. Okay, what's good, bro? How are you doing, Spronkle? I appreciate you joining the stream. Look, bro, please give huge shout out to Mr. Sakama Dake. Honestly, it does sound kind of cool. Shout out to him, guys. That's next up. I'm gonna go ahead and create a surface inside of my method. So I'm gonna go with something like SDL underscore. Okay, before my surface, I might want to create a color as well. It doesn't like make a difference whether or not I create my color first or my surface first. I feel like creating a color first, so I'm going to use the SDL underscore colors as structure, which consists of the colors and local variable representing it that is going to be equal to a pair of curly braces. Let's see, what colors do I want my text to be? Maybe I want my text to be something like, I don't know, probably black, so I'm going to go with 000 and 255. This is the RGB for black, and 255 is the alpha slash opacity, so my black won't be transparent at all. Next up, once I'm done creating my color, I'm going to go ahead and let's say create a surface as well. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore surfaces structure, which is going to be consisting of a surface's local variable representing it that is going to be equal to the TDF underscore render text. There we go. Render text underscore blended function. Okay, there we go. Okay, now my render text blended function is going to be requiring a bunch of parameters. It firstly requires a font parameter, so I'm going to go ahead and add my font size parameter here. The second parameter is going to be a constant character of text, which in this case is going to be my input text. Although if I did add input text, my input text is just a regular standard string. It's not like a constant character. Okay, okay, he tried to make you say it, guys. Okay, guys, that was kind of weird. Okay, that's next up. I'm gonna go ahead and include my string here because I want to convert my regular string to be a constant string. So I'm gonna go ahead and do something like include a pair of anchor braces. Let's say something like string. Now I'm gonna be using the .c strings function to convert my regular string to be a constant string, and that's like pretty much it. Now, once I'm done with that, my third parameter is going to be a length. Since I don't have a length, I'm going to set this to be 0. And my fourth parameter is going to be a color, which I'm going to be setting it to be my color parameter. And this is going to be a pointer towards my surface. Okay, then I add my function with a semicolon. Okay, day 3 of being fascinated by this wizardry, guys. It actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, damn, you're going to make me go back. to good. You're gonna make me go back to good OL coding. Oh, I said does sound kind of cool. Good luck with that, user. Okay, now once I'm done with creating a surface, I'm gonna be using a if statement to check if my surface was created properly. So I'm gonna go with something like if my surface was created properly. Firstly, I wanna let's say something like creating texture. So I'm gonna use the SDL underscore textures and structure with an asterisk to something like a text textures as pointer. Maybe I go with something like player text texture. Okay, because I will be creating an NPC text texture as well. That said, I'm gonna set my player text texture to be equal to the SDL underscore create texture from surfaces function. So I'm gonna use the create texture from surfaces function, which does require two parameters. The first parameter is gonna be my renderer. The second parameter is gonna be my surface, which in this case is gonna be my text surface. There we go. Alright guys, I think I spelled surface wrong. Okay, so I'm gonna be adding my text surface, and then I'm gonna end my function with a semicolon. Let's go ahead and change this to be something like text surface. Text surface. Okay, how can you talk so much? You do not get exhausted? Honestly, I feel like I do get exhausted, but I think that I'm kind of used to it, guys. Okay, drop haircare routine. Honestly, I used to have like a lot of haircare and skincare routine, but these days I didn't like whatchamacallit stop doing that because I didn't have much time because of my college and now because of streaming as well. But I could actually whatchamacallit make a video on that because I still do use stuff regularly. I just like oil my hair, but these days I don't even like oil my hair much. Okay, that's it. Now once I'm done creating a texture, let's see what else do I need. Maybe I want to go ahead and get the width and height of my texture because eventually when I do display it on my window, I don't want it to like be extended using magic numbers. So I'm gonna create a floating point variable of my textures' width and my textures' height ending with a semicolon. Then I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore get texture size function. So I'm gonna use the get texture size function with a pair of parentheses. Now my get texture size function is gonna be requiring three parameters. The first parameter is going to be my texture, which in this case is my player text texture. The second parameter is going to be the memory address of my texture's width and the memory address of my texture's height, ending my function with a semicolon. Damn, speak slower, you'll lose your voice or I'll lose my hearing. Guys, that actually does make sense. I should like speak a bit slower. Alright guys, I'll try speaking a bit slower. Okay, by slower, do you guys mean less loud or like slow? I think slow means slow. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done creating my SDL, less loud. Okay, guys, I'll speak a bit, I'll speak less loudly now. Okay, so once I'm done, whatchamacallit, creating a texture, you're still loud, dude, am I? What up, guys? Let me actually, check my voice here. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done creating my Oh, actually, I am kind of loud. Maybe I decrease my voice from my OBS. So, there we go. Alright, guys, is this voice good? I decrease it from my OBS. Okay, that's it. Next up, I'm gonna use the SDL underscore... No, you need to speak lower. Oh, I need to speak lower. Okay, maybe I get my mic a little lower. There we go. Okay, I'm learning Java Oz. Honestly, it does sound kind of cool. Good luck with that. Akshat, is that how you pronounce your name? Okay, so I'm gonna use the SDL underscore render textures as function. This function is gonna be rendering a texture on my window. Okay, hey Vivek, hiding the cast. I appreciate you joining the stream. There we go. Then I'm gonna go with a pair of parentheses. Now my SDL underscore render textures as function does require a bunch of parameters. You sound just fine. Honestly, do I? Okay, because some of you guys do say me I'm really loud, but I feel like that is just like my mic and my settings type stuff. Okay, now my render is gonna my render textures as function is gonna be requiring a renders as parameter. And the second parameter is going to be my texture, which in this case is going to be my player texture. The third parameter is going to be a source rect, which I'm going to be setting it to be null PDR because I honestly don't have a source rect. The fourth parameter is going to be a DST rect. Here, I did not create a DST rect, so I'm going to use the SDL underscore F rex structure, which is going to be having a rex's local variable representing it. Okay, I think the background music is muffling your voice weirdly. Honestly, is it? In that case, I could like mute the background music. Is the background music like kind of annoying type stuff? There we go. I decrease the sound a bit. Okay. Have you not heard of Oz? Honestly, I haven't like heard of it. What's it about? Okay, that's it. How are you doing, Nail? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, next up, once I'm done getting my textures as width and height, I'm gonna add a few parameters. So I'm going to use my Rex's local variable dot something like width is going to be equal to my texture's width multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon. Since I am adding a scale here, I might need a floating point scale parameter in my function here. Okay, hiding Yajus, I appreciate you joining the stream. Hiding Sams, I appreciate you joining the stream as well. Okay, and then I'm gonna do something like my rect.height equals to my textures as height multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and this is gonna be textures width, guys. Okay, talking this much slows down my brain. Honestly, does it? Okay, Amazon Web Series cloud provider. Oh, that actually sounds really cool. What's he making? Honestly, I'm working on like AI-based text logic in like SDL3 using C++, where my AI he replies to my player depending on what my player speaks or what are the what you may call it main keywords inside of my vectors and history. So my AI or like my NPC changes his moods type stuff. Artificial intelligence. I see. Okay, that's it. This is actually pretty much it for my display player on window. But since I did create a texture here, I do gotta destroy my texture as well. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore destroy textures as function. Because guys, a really important rule when it comes to like C++, when you create something, we do gotta destroy that stuff. So I'm going to be destroying my texture and adding my texture as a parameter. Then I exit outside of my if statement and use the SDL underscore, let's say something like destroy a surface. I did create a surface as well, so I'm going to go ahead and destroy my surface, which in this case, it is going to be my text surface, ending with a semicolon. Can you tell me what exactly in C++ you're learning? I know C++ objects and classes, but not exactly this. It looks really cool. Honestly, I am using the SDL library here. SDL is basically a graphics library for like making games and like C++. You guys could like make a different stuff with the graphics type stuff. But today I'm like working on AI-based text logic. Okay, have a good one, bro. I'm gonna dip. Honestly, I appreciate you sticking through the stream, Sprongy. I'll catch you next stream. Okay, that's it. This is pretty much it for my void function. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit outside of my void function. And I actually don't think I might need any other methods here. Maybe I might need another method. I'm gonna create a void method for like, actually I actually won't need any methods. Okay, so now that I'm done with my chatsys class for my player, I'm gonna go ahead and create another class called something like hero. This is gonna be my heroes class, which does okay, let's see. I don't think my heroes class needs to inherit from my chatsys class. So you look like 17 years old. Where did you learn to code in C++? Honestly, I am 17. That's it. I'm going to be turning 18 really soon, guys. Kind of excited for that. That's it. I did like which may call it learn using ChatGPT. So I should say, okay, can this job be done by AI? Honestly, I would say this. Okay, I wouldn't say like exactly what I'm coding right now. AI can like completely replicate that like without any kind of context or anything. Like if you just say them to make this. Although eventually in the future, yeah. Okay, this is VS Code. Honestly, yeah, this is like Visual Studio. Okay, it's not like Visual Studio Code, it's just Visual Studio. Where are you from, bro? I used to answer much, but I didn't like avoid saying that these days. I think I should speed. I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it. Now, for my heroes class, would I need any private data members? I honestly don't think I might need any private data members, but I am going to be inheriting from my class since I would need something like, maybe I might not need textures here. Okay, so I would need a private data member, so I'm gonna go with something like private. Now, my private data member is gonna be the SDL underscore textures structure, which is gonna be having something like, I don't know, maybe hero textures is local variable representing it, ending with a semicolon. Okay, why do you sound gay, guys? I get that a lot. I'm actually straight. That's you same age. Honestly, it does sound kind of cool. Okay, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and publicalize everything now. The first thing that I might need inside of my public section of my heroes class could be something like a constructor. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a constructor. There we go. Okay, now my constructor is gonna be having, let's say something like a hero texture as my parameter. Although here's the thing, do I want to create like a entity class like, I don't know, maybe a parent class and then inherit my hero texture because I will be having a mage texture as well. Okay, what are your skills? Honestly, I'd say like I'm a beginner type stuff. Okay, that's it. Now, I'm going to be creating a heroes constructor. I don't know why did I add hero texture here. There we go. Now, my heroes constructor is going to be consisting of, let's say, a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be a renderer. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore renderers structure, which consists of a renderers local variable representing it. Now, once I'm done with a renderer, I might need something like a floating point scale as well for my heroes texture. And actually, I won't edit with a semicolon, but I will go with the pro of curly braces. Okay, can you lose a fake accent? I'll subscribe. Honestly, I feel like this is my actual accent. Okay, what are we creating? Honestly, I'm working on like AI-based text logic in SDL3 using C++. Okay, it's really cool seeing someone write code from scratch for people to everything with AI. Keep it up, dude. Honestly, it does make sense. That sounds kind of cool as well. I appreciate you. Acid, is that how I pronounce your name? Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done creating my constructor, inside my constructor, what would I need? Let's see. I might need to like add a file path for my texture. So I'm gonna use my hero texture. I'm gonna set my heroes' texture to be equal to, I don't know, maybe the SDL underscore load, actually not SDL underscore load texture, the image underscore load texture. And I won't be able to use this. But up guys, let's go with something like load texture. There we go. Okay, and I won't be able to use this because I did not include the image section of my SDL. So let's go ahead and include a prop ankle braces. Let's say I want to include SDL3 underscore image, the image section of my SDL, slash SDL underscore, there we go, underscore image dot h, which is my image section of my SDL and are the header files for my image as well. Okay, what are you pursuing currently? Honestly, eventually I do wanna be an AI engineer and like build AI type stuff. For the time being, I am like working on my program for like 258 series. My goal by the end of this series is to make a game in general that consists of AI logic in it. Okay, can you make it faster? That would be really appreciated, guys. It actually does make sense. Dude, you should create an entity class to inherit a class that takes texture as an entity. You'd create NPCs or players based on a class. It's very helpful. That does make sense, guys. I might actually do it. I don't know why was I getting lazy to do that, because it is going to make my work like much easier later on. So I'm going to be creating something like a physics bodies as class. There we go. So I'm going to go with something like physics body. Now my physics bodies as class is going to be having, I don't know, a few public data members. The first is going to be something like SDL underscore texture, which is going to be representing a texture as a local variable ending with a semicolon. Then I might need something like SDL underscore frect, which is going to be having a vex as local variable. And then what else would I need? Maybe I might need something like a x-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to something like 5 pixels per frame ending with a semicolon. Okay, this is going to be floating point x-axis velocity. Okay, I'm back. How are you doing, Achintya? I appreciate you joining the stream. I know for sure bro works in call center. Guys, works in call center is kind of crazy. Bro, C++ is too hard. I'm a Java guy. That actually sounds really cool. I do want to eventually learn Java as well. Okay, so I go with floating point x-axis velocity. Then I'm going to go with something like a floating point of y-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to something like 0.0 floating point ending with a semicolon. Okay, do you remember me? Honestly, I do remember you. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's it. Once I'm done with these, I might actually create a few methods for my physics body class. But before that, would I need a constructor? I might actually need a constructor. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a constructor. Now my physics bodies is class. Honestly, I might just copy this. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and paste it here. And now my physics bodies is constructor will be requiring 4 parameters. Let's say the first parameter is going to be a floating point of x-axis. And second parameter is going to be a floating point of y-axis. Third is going to be a floating point of width. Lastly, fourth parameter is going to be a floating point of height. Okay, and that's actually pretty much it for my parameters. Okay, what are you coding? Honestly, I'm working on like AI-based text logic in SDL3 using C++. Okay, when you scream when you talk a bit quieter and slower. Honestly, I can actually talk a bit lower. Okay, chat guesses country. Guys, that is a pretty good game. Okay, why don't you make separate classes and different files? Make a different file for physics player. Okay, UT makes coding more readable. That actually does make sense, but then that would like take a lot of time. But I want to like learn specific content, so I'm not like working on the real detail type stuff. I want to learn the what you call it. I want to work details based on my AI based text logic and stuff like creating different files for like these things. Okay, what's your OBS bitrate so blurry? Honestly, is it blurry? I feel like it is kind of clear, guys. I'm like watching the stream on my phone. Okay, that's it. Let's see. Next up, inside of my physics bodies class, I'm going to fill in a few parameters. Let's say something like my rect.x-axis equals to my x-axis parameter. I'll go with something like rect.y-axis equals to my y-axis parameter ending with a semicolon. Rect.width equals to my textures as... Okay, now I gotta get my textures as width. So before I actually do that, I'm gonna go ahead and require scales as parameter here as well. So I'm gonna go with something like floating point scale. how coding. Okay, PC specs. Honestly, I'm using like what you call it, a MSI's keyboard. I actually forgot my RAM. I think it is like a 36 GB RAM or something. I live in Lucknow. That actually does sound kind of cool. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and create a floating point variable of something like textures is width and textures height ending with a semicolon. And then I'm gonna use the SDL underscore get texture sizes function. This function gets my textures size and it does require 3 parameters. Howdy Deekshit, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and firstly add my textures as parameter. The second parameter is going to be the memory address of my textures as width, and the third parameter is going to be the memory address of my textures as height, ending with a semicolon. Now for my rex's width, I'm going to set that equal to my textures as width multiplied by my scale. So my texture won't be too big, not too small, the original size. Dude, you have to make it faster. That doesn't make sense. I might actually increase my speed a bit. And then my rect dot height is going to be my textures height multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon. Okay, now once I'm done with my constructor, I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says something like methods. For my methods, how can we learn English like that you're speaking? Honestly, I'd say like the more we speak, the better we get, if that makes any sense. Okay, now for my methods, I'm going to go ahead and create a void method called something like, I don't know, maybe, let's say something like apply gravity, because I will be applying gravity. Okay, let's go with something like apply gravity. So there we go. Okay, now my apply gravity method is going to be requiring, let's say something like 2 parameters. The first parameter is going to be something like a boolean parameter of on ground to check if I'm currently on ground. The second parameter is going to be a floating point of my floors as y-axis, because I do want to land somewhere as well. Bro, your English is so good. Honestly, I appreciate you, OB guys. That actually means the world to me. Okay, tell T, where are you from? I used to answer much, but these days I did like avoid saying that type stuff. Okay, that's let's go with the bro. Curly braces now. Inside my apply gravity's method, I'm gonna firstly go ahead and increase my speed, which in this case is going to be my y-axis underscore velocity, by my gravity. So I'm gonna go with something like gravity. Okay, I don't have a gravity variable, so I'm gonna create a floating point of gravity variable here real quick. There we go, which is gonna be equal to 0.5, ending with a semicolon. Okay, your channel will grow like algae in water. You're consistent programming with fixed rules that you follow. Honestly, I appreciate you. Wait, and guys, that actually means the world to me. Love from Nepal. Guys, I mean, what you call it? I appreciate you, Guyan. That actually means I feel like this is the first time I've like got someone from Nepal here. Maybe there might be many others as well. Okay, is it C sharp? Honestly, it is C++. That's the next step. I'm going to go ahead and increase my speeds. I'm going to go with something like vect dot y-axis. I'm going to increase it by my y-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. Dude, what about the delta time? That's important. Honestly, I haven't like heard of delta time. I'd actually look into that. What does it do? Are you on Windows or Linux? Honestly, I'm on Windows. That's it. Now, once I did apply gravity, I do want to add an if statement to add a landing as well to like say where my player is going to land. For example, I could go with something like if my, let's say something like rect dot y-axis is rect dot y-axis plus my rect dot height is greater than or equal to my floors is y-axis, then I want to reset, let's go with something like floors is y-axis. Then I want to reset, let's say something like my Rex's y-axis, my heroes' y-axis, or my players' y-axis to be equal to my floors' y-axis minus my Rex's height. And that's honestly pretty much it. I'm just going to be setting my y-axis underscore velocity to be equal to 0 after I'm done in the after I'm up the floor, if that makes any sense, guys. Is this Java? Honestly, it is C++. Are you using Visual Studio 2022? Honestly, yeah, what you call it? Visual Studio 2026 did come out as well, but I didn't actually have time to like try that out. Okay, love from Boots or Beirut Libano. Is that how you pronounce it? Honestly, what you call it? I appreciate you, EB Doxy. Guys, I'm so awful at pronouncing names. How do you get motivated to code every day? Honestly, guys, I don't feel like it is like motivation. I just come up every single day. That's it. Now, once I'm done creating a void method here, I'm going to go ahead and create another method. This method is going to be a jump method because I do want my player to be able to jump as well. That's it. For my jump method, I'm going to go ahead and require a floating point parameter of something like power, ending with a semicolon. My bad, guys. Alright, bro, curly braces. Now, my jump method is basically going to be my y-axis underscore velocity equal to, let's say, something like my negative power, so my player jumps upwards. And that's honestly pretty much it for my jump method. Now, for my final method, I'm going to go with something like a draw method. Okay, so much coding every day will make me go insane, guys. Actually, it does make sense, but it does eventually get fun type stuff. Okay, why do you start everything you say with honestly? Do you lie a lot? Honestly, guys, I think it became like a habit just saying honestly. He's using chat GPT, guys. I'm writing this manually. Okay, that's it. Next up, for my draw method, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore render as a structure, which consists of a render as a local variable. And that might be the only parameter that I need for my draw method. Now, inside my draw method, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore render textures and structure. Now, my render textures and structure does require a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is gonna be my renderer. The second parameter is gonna be my texture. The third parameter is gonna be a source rect. Since I don't have a source rect, I'm gonna set it to be null PDR. Lastly, my fourth parameter is gonna be the memory address of my DST rect, which in this case, it's my regular rect. And then I end with a semicolon. How old are you, bro? Honestly, I am like 17. That's it. I'm going to be turning 18 really soon, guys. My birthday is the January 5th. Kind of excited for that. Okay, it may sound stupid, but I love reading novels and don't like to code, but without code, I won't land a job. I mean, honestly, I feel like if you don't enjoy coding and you like try working on coding to even get a job, it might be fun and I mean it might like pay a lot and all that stuff, but eventually it will like drain you type stuff. So I would recommend like if you do want to like get a job by programming and all that, you could like actually learn programming. It does get kind of fun, but if you feel like it is like a torture to like do it, I wouldn't recommend it. But I feel like you should mostly pick something that you actually like. Like reading novels is kind of cool. I do like I did like what we call it, read some books before, but guys, I got kind of bored of it. Like if you guys can like read so many books, that's actually kind of insane. That said, his mother tongue is Hindi. That actually does make sense. What's gonna happen if something is wrong in the code? You're gonna check everything from top to bottom. Honestly, I would do that, but I'm pretty sure nothing is wrong in the code. Okay, hey, nothing. Which country you from? I used to answer much, but I did stop answering that for like safety reasons, guys. No loop for cheat codes. I mean, I might add that stuff later. Okay, that said, now my image underscore load is going to be requiring, let's say something like my render as a parameter. The second parameter is going to be my file path, which in this case is going to be my, maybe, I don't know, I'll go with something like Control Alt L and let's see, I'm going to open my file in Solution Explorer because I forgot my file path. Let's see, so I'm gonna go under my NPCs. I wanna load my hero PNG. So I go with something like NPC. I'm gonna go with something like NPC slash hero PNG. So there we go. Slash. Okay, so I'm gonna go with NPC slash my hero.png. Okay, that's pretty much it. Then I go ahead and end my function with a semicolon. But with delta time, it ensures that objects move with same rate with every amount of FPS. Honestly, I will be adding FPS inside my main loop type stuff. Okay, what do you feel about posting teaching coding? I do want to actually do that type stuff. Like I want to like I might actually make a few videos on like how to use SDL and all that. Thanks, man. If I get successful, I'm gonna do a big donor on your channel. Okay, honestly, I appreciate you, Whitey. That actually means the world to me, guys. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done creating, do I need like a prof really braces here? Okay, maybe not. Okay, now once I'm done with my constructor or adding my hero texture here, that should be pretty much it, honestly. Okay, go with something like draw and all that stuff. I'm just going to be removing my private data member here and inheriting all the public content from my physics bodies as class. I'm going to go with something like physics body. Okay, excuse me, guys. Perfect. Now, before I actually add a, before I add a pair of curly braces, I do gotta go ahead and add a constructor for the class that I'm inheriting from, which in this case is gonna be my physics bodies as class. Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's paste it here. Okay, did I like run my code by mistake? There we go. Let's go ahead and exit that. Okay, why do you remember so much? Honestly, I feel like it is like a lot of practice type stuff. Will we be hosting platform? I haven't honestly heard of that. That's his English accent is funny, guys. Honestly, that does sound kind of cool. Okay, love the way you speak English. That actually means the world to me, ABD. Okay, that's it. Now my physics bodies is constructed does require 4 parameters. The first is going to be x-axis. I don't know, I'm going to set that to 100. Next is going to be y-axis, which is going to be 100 as well. Then for my width and height, I'm going to set it to be 0, 0. and my scale is going to be my scales is variable all the way up there. Okay, if you ever teach, I think you do a very good job. That I do actually like teaching, but I feel like I'm not like good enough to actually teach stuff. But I feel like I do want to actually try it once. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and add a constructor here. It starts there and it ends here. Okay, and then this is my function here. Instead of hero texture, I'm just gonna go with texture. Okay, what age did you start coding? Honestly, I started coding when I was 17, like this year itself. How many years are you doing coding? I feel like it's like about 5ish months, because like in my channel, if you guys go to my first year programming video, which was like my Python for 100 Days series week 1, that was like the first time I did start coding. Okay, do you know any do you know the programming language Rust? Honestly, I do know Rust, but I haven't like tried it yet. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done creating a texture, I'm gonna go ahead and get the width and height of my texture. To do that, did I actually use that method here somewhere? I did use it here, so I might not need the width and height, and this might be the only thing that I might need inside of my constructor. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and exit outside of my constructor, add a comment that says something like methods. What are methods would my hero class need? Maybe my hero class might need something like uh, I don't know. I don't think I need any methods for my hero class. Okay, when we run this code, honestly, I'm gonna like run it. I think in like, I think it's gonna be a while, guys, because I actually no, I'm gonna run it in a bit, honestly, because I created my hero class. I'm gonna go ahead and create a mages class as well, which is gonna be consisting of all the public content from, let's say, something like my physics bodies as class. So I'm gonna go with something like physics body. Okay, then I go with the prof curly braces. Bro, Rust is the best programming language. The only problem is that it doesn't have enough job application. I see Java is mid, but the one with the most job applications. I see that actually sounds kind of fun. Okay, bro, goddamn, you're smart, learned coding just in a few months. I mean, I feel like I am going kind of slow, but it does sound kind of cool. Okay, which language technology are you using? I am using C++. That said, I might actually remove this part from here. Let's go ahead and copy that. So, okay, I might not need x-axis and y-axis here, so I'm gonna go ahead and okay, maybe I'm just gonna copy my width and height here, and then let's go ahead and paste it somewhere here. There we go. So this is rect.width, rect.height. I don't have a rect, so I might just go with Control Z's. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and paste it here. Now for my mages class, I'm gonna go ahead and like copy this exact same thing. Let's go ahead and copy everything here, and then let's go ahead and paste it here. Now, I'm just going to be changing my heroes constructor to be my mages constructor. And my mages constructor consists of a renderer and a scale, physics body, the positions, which is going to be something like, I don't know, maybe 600 by 600. Okay, so wait, actually x-axis could be 600, y-axis could be 100. Okay, are you using Fraser JavaScript? Honestly, I haven't like started JavaScript just yet. Where you got that price? Honestly, I actually drew it. That said, the reason it is like static sprites, because like I'm not that good at drawing tab stuff, so I don't know how to like make sprites that actually has animation and everything, so I just drew like regular static sprites, guys. Okay, you should make a class for NPC and player. Creating more class for every NPC is bad practice. You know what they say, don't repeat yourself. That does make sense, but for this code, I don't think I'm gonna actually be having more than 2 NPC or more than 2 like NPC classes, because I won't need like much enemies type stuff. That said, now once I'm done with this, does my mage need any kind of constructor? My hero does not. My mage might need an automate method, so I'm gonna go with something like a comment that says something like methods. Maybe I could actually create my automate method inside of my physics bodies as class. So after my jump method, I'm gonna go ahead and create a white method called something like automate. Now for my automate, let's say I'm gonna be requiring honestly no parameters. Although I would need something like my rect.x-axis is going to go ahead and decrease by my x-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. Then I add a if statement to check if my rect.x-axis is either greater than or equal, actually greater than negative 100, which is like past my entire window. Then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to go ahead and set my rect.x-axis to be equal to something like, I don't know, maybe 800, ending with a semicolon. Okay, I'm a game developer, majority working on Pixie, JavaScript, Fraser, and Unity. That actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, hello Anne. How are you doing, Haran? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, Mage class has different image. Okay, guys, I actually need to. Okay, I do gotta like focus on that stuff. Like, I gotta like pay more attention because this is gonna be my mage.png. Now, once I'm done creating both my classes, I'm gonna go ahead and add, I don't know, maybe a main function. So I'm gonna go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. What library are you using to render? Honestly, I am using the SDL3 library, which is basically a graphics library. That said, my main function is going to be requiring two parameters. The first parameter is going to be an integer of argc. The second parameter is going to be a character, which is a which is a pointer towards an array of argv. Then inside my main function, I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says something like initialize. Basically, I'm going to be initializing my SDL and true texture fonts here. Okay, hi bro Ram Ram. How are you doing, Beta? I appreciate you joining the stream. I suggest you to create games with video tutorials or book related to SDL so you can learn correct class and method abstractions and memory management. That actually does make sense. I should actually do that. That's it. I don't feel like there are like many tutorials for like game development in like SDL3. You guys could like fact check if like new tutorials were out. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like if not, let's say something like SDL underscore init. If my SDL was not initialized properly, I'm gonna do something, but my SDL underscore init function does require a parameter. I'm gonna go with SDL underscore init underscore video. If the video section of my SDL was not initialized properly, then I'm gonna do something. What's the meaning of your name, Vivek? Honestly, I didn't look it up. I think it's something like knowledge, wisdom, or peace, or something like that. Coding, overacting. Guys, I gotta keep the stream entertaining by overacting. That's a main function can have zero parameters. You need parameters if you're going to use them. No need otherwise. That actually does make sense. I didn't think like it would be a good practice to like add these parameters here though. That said, if my video section of my SDL was not initialized properly, I'm gonna go ahead and add a standard C error and display myself an error message. I'm gonna say something like SDL underscore init error. Okay, then I go with another insertion operator and use the function actually gets me an error. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore get errors this function. Let's go with something like get error. This function is going to be giving myself an error. What up, guys? I think I spelled get error wrong. And then I'm going to add another insertion operator of a standard line ending with a semicolon. Okay, share the entire screen, bro. Guys, this is my entire screen. In my other screen, I have like my first window here. And my second window here. And if you guys do think it is ChatGPT, guys, my ChatGPT is like right under my this window. Like if I go here, it's all the way there. But I do like use ChatGPT to just have live type stuff. That said, let's go ahead and get my VS Code up here. There we go. Hello, hiding grinder. I appreciate you joining the stream. Dude, what's the problem with your accent, guys? I ask myself that as well. Okay, that's it. Once I'm done initializing my, initializing my SDL, I'm gonna go ahead and return one. See something went wrong in this block of code. Okay, his English is better than mine. Guys, English is better than mine. It's kind of crazy. That's it. Next up, once I'm done initializing, I'm going to go ahead and add another if statement to initialize my true texture font as well. So I'm going to go with something like if not TDF underscore init. If my true texture font was not initialized properly, then I'm going to do something. Firstly, I'm going to display myself an error text. I'm going to go with a standard C error with an insertion operator that says something like TDF underscore init error. Okay, then I'm gonna go with another insertion operator of, I don't know, maybe something like a SDL underscore get error. This function actually gets me an error. Sup guys, how's it going? How are you doing? HRU, I appreciate you joining the stream. Stop with the stupid accent, guys. Stop with the stupid accent. It's kind of crazy. Okay, processor. Device processor. Honestly, I am. My processor, I think it was something like the Intel Core's processor. I forgot what was it, but I did like have a video where I did like build my own PC. So like I had like the video of all the parts. That's it. I got a lot of help there. Okay, they're watching live and short. That's why. Okay, that's why unavailable to see the whole screen. They need to direct towards the live video on our channel. That does make sense, guys. If you guys do want to like see my entire screen, yes, could go to the horizontal chat of my horizontal stream. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like SDL underscore end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, PC specifications, guys. I'm using the MSI's motherboard, and I think I'm not having a graphics card because I'm using the graphics card that is like integrated inside of my motherboard. That's it. I forgot the other parts, but I do have a video there. Okay, why return 1 instead of boolean? Honestly, we return 1 to like say that something has written that is like not a zero, that means something is wrong with this block of code, if that makes any sense. That's it. Now if my what should we call it, once I display my edit text here, I'm gonna go ahead and return one as well, ending with a semicolon. People are just losing their chill because of an accent, guys. That does make a lot of sense. That's it. Now once I'm done initializing my stuff, I'm gonna add a comment that says something like game variables. Okay, so now for my game variables, I'm firstly going to be creating an integer variable for my width. This is going to be my Windows' width. I'm going to set it to be something like 1000, and then an integer of height. This is going to be my Windows' height, which is going to be something like 800, ending with a semicolon. Okay, then you leave your short live, main live. That actually does make sense, guys. If you guys do want to like watch my entire screen, I would like recommend you guys to like move on to the horizontal stream that shows my entire window type stuff. That's it. Now once I'm done creating my two game variables, I'm gonna add a comment. Okay, what are you programming? Honestly, I am like working on AI based text logic and SDL3 using C++. That's it. Next time I'm gonna go ahead and create my window and my renderer at the same time. They're distracting you, ignore them, guys. That does make sense. Love your accent. I appreciate you, Worry. Guys, I'm not gonna be reading the chats for a bit. I think I gotta like focus more here. What are you actually coding with C++? I'm working on like AI based text logic, means depending on what my user says, my NPC replies and all that stuff. That's it. Now to create my window and renderer, I'm going to be requiring two parameters. The first parameter is going to be representing my SDL underscore windows as structure. I'm going to be calling my pointer something like window and setting it to be null PDR, which is basically a placeholder for pointers, ending with a semicolon. The second parameter, actually the second pointer that I would be needing, is going to be representing my SDL underscore renderer as a structure. I'm going to be calling my pointer renderer and setting it to be something like null PDR, which is a placeholder for pointers. Guys, this is going to be something like null. Okay, you should use GPU. Honestly, I haven't like heard of GPU. Is it like a different coding language or something? Unless GPU is like graphics card. Yeah, I think it is graphics card. Yeah, maybe I'm eventually gonna add a GPU to my PC, but for the time being, I am like using my motherboard's one. Because guys, I feel the GPU is like 200 extra bucks. Okay, once I'm done creating my window and my renderer, I'm going to use the function that actually does create it. So I'm going to go ahead and create it. Use the SDL underscore create window and render as function. This function creates both my window and my renderer at the same time, but it does require a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is going to be something like SDL3 window created, which is technically my title slash a caption for my window. The second and third parameter is going to be the width of my window and the height of my window. The fourth parameter is going to be a flag for my window. If you guys don't want to add a flag, you guys could go with 0, but I do want to add a flag that makes my window resizable. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore window underscore resizable. So there we go. Guys, I was kind of thinking for a bit. I forgot the spelling. Okay, are you developing a game? Honestly, I am doing something like that. That's it. My fifth and sixth parameter is going to be the memory address of my window and the memory address of my renderer, ending with a semicolon. Okay, you sure this project isn't a bit overkill? Implementing AI in C++ game is a bit hard. I don't know what kind of API you're using for the AI. Honestly, I don't think I'm using an API. I am like manually like adding this stuff like the AI logic, but this is just because I have a C++ series and I do want to get a hang of actually writing code in C++. But once my C++ for 100 series is going to get over, I am going to be implementing AI logic using Python, because I will be trying to add my Python's code inside my C++ project, if that makes any sense, guys. Bro, I have a suggestion for you. Every day you repeat what you will do in today's live. Instead of that, drop the aim of today's live in the description box. Honestly, that's actually really smart, guys. I might actually have to do that. Okay, what are you studying currently? Currently, in my college, I'm not doing anything because I do have my winter breaks. But then I am like working on C++ off college. You're too loud. Honestly, I should like decrease my volume in that case. I only play browser games, guys. Play browser games. It's kind of crazy, but it does sound kind of fun as well. Bro, connect database with C++. Don't you connect it? I might actually try that. Connect database with C++. I'm trying to connect Python with C++. What do you prefer, animated sprites or spine for animation? I'm a big fan of spines. I actually like both as well, but I do eventually, like, first I want to start with sprites and then go on to like more detailed animation, if that makes any sense. That said, now once I'm done creating my window and my renderer, I'm going to be adding an if statement to check if my window or my renderer was not created properly, because in C++ we give ourselves errors. So I'm going to check if my window was not created properly or not a renderer. If my renderer was not created properly, then I'm going to do something. Firstly, I want to display myself and edit text. I'm going to go with a standard C editor with an insertion operator that is going to say something like SDL underscore create window and renderer editor. Okay, perfect. And then I go with another insertion operator of something like let's say something like, I use the function that gets me an error, so I'm going to use the SDL underscore get errors as function with another insertion operator of a standard line ending with a semicolon. Okay, doing AI in Python makes sense, but how are you going to make C++ and Python communicate? Honestly, I just gotta like, if I were to go with Control Shift L and get my properties here, all I gotta do is add my my C++'s generals additional include libraries right here, like the include library and the lib. And I think there was like a few more stuff. And then I gotta add the DLL on my C++'s file as well, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to figure that stuff out. I gotta like work on that like off stream. Okay, your voice is too loud. Honestly, guys, I might decrease my voice in my OBS real quick in that case. Alright, guys, is that voice pretty good? Because I decreased it in OBS. It is very loud. Okay, so I decreased my voice in OBS, guys. This should be kind of good. Okay, no, connect for DB with C++ to store permanent username. For now, data gets deleted after your program gets executed or gets out of scope. Okay, that's why will help you a lot. I might actually try that. That does sound kind of fun. That's it. Howdy, Brain. I appreciate you joining the stream. Bro, I really want to see the output. Honestly, I could like go to my C++ practice. Let me go ahead and save this code. This was my code like from I think 2 streams ago. The output is going to be almost as similar as this. So if I were to run the code, I get my console here. And then I'm waiting for the window to compile. Hold up, guys. There we go. So in my window, this is going to be my window. This is not like exactly the output I'm going to be having for my next code, but it is something similar to this. If I jump, my player can jump, my player can move. But if I were to hit something like shift to enable my chat, type something like hello, my hello works. If I hit enter, my NPC replies and the conversation goes here. But if I type something like bye, my NPC says farewell. If I type bye again, my NPC's mood changes to mad and he says get out of my side. If I say something like hello, my NPC says no more talks because the mood changes to like my mood is still angry. If I go with something like sorry, my NPC says no more chats. If I go with sorry again, no more chats, sorry again, my NPC says alright because my mood changes to something like neutral. Although it is going to be something like this, but not like exactly the same. Next up, let me go to my SDL3 project here. Okay, no, I INC your voice and tell them to decrease the volume. I see. Okay, so should I actually increase my voice in my OBS in that case? I do it. So there we go. Okay, now once I'm done with that, and I check if my window or my renderer was not created properly, I'm gonna go ahead and exit my SDL. So I'm gonna go with something like SDL underscore quit with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I return 1. Now, once I'm done creating my window and my renderer, let's see, do you use Oz or Azure or Google Cloud? Honestly, I don't feel like I use like any of them. That's it. Now, once I'm done with creating my window adventure, I'm gonna add another comment that says something like create objects. You're doing great, bro. Keep coding. C++ will make it whatever you strive for. Much love. Honestly, I appreciate you, Daniel. That does actually sound kind of cool as well. That's it. Let's go with something like create objects. This is where I create objects. But before I do create objects, I want to add a comment that says something like create recs. So now the first rec that I'm going to be creating is going to be something like SDL underscore frec, which consists of, let's say, something like my floor as a local variable representing it. Now I'm gonna go with something like floor.x-axis equals to something like, I don't know, maybe 0 ending with a semicolon. Floor.y-axis, excuse me guys, is going to be equal to something like maybe 700 since my height is like 800. Can you make a simple portfolio where your pics are showing on the ring but your picture image is divided into many parts where all parts are collabed when you tap on the center and complete your image? Guys, I think I didn't understand that. Bro, I have another suggestion. Do game dev in C# plus Unity. It's best for game dev and it's used in web apps so your hard work will not go in vain. Thank me later. I might actually try that because I do want to like start using Unreal and like Unity as well. Maybe I might have a C# and like C series as well. That said, my width is going to be 1050, which is bigger than my Windows size. Lastly, I'm gonna go with something like floor.height equals to something like, I don't know, maybe 100. Not too big, not too small. Okay, use standard string instead. Standard string. Honestly, I did like using standard string up there. That said, after mastering SDL, you should take a visit to OpenGL. I did want to actually do OpenGL. That's it. Now for my create objects, I'm gonna go ahead and create a object representing my chat.sys class. My object is gonna be called something like chat with a pair of parentheses. Actually, my chat.sys class does not have a constructor, so I'm just gonna end it with a semicolon. The second class is gonna be my heroes class, which is going to be represented by heroes local variable that does require two parameters. The first is going to be a renderer. The second is going to be a scale, which I'm going to be setting it to be something like 0.1. That is 10% of its original size. Bro, where are you from? I used to understand much, but I did like avoid saying that for like safety reasons. I think Vishnu, I appreciate you joining the stream. Next up, once I'm done creating my objects, I'm going to add another comment that says something like maybe, let's say main loop. This is going to be my main loop where my actual game content is going to be on. So my main loop is going to be requiring, I don't know, maybe something like two parameters. The first actually the first variable is going to be something like a boolean of is running, which is initially going to be set to true, ending with a semicolon. The second variable is going to be representing my SDL underscore events structure. I'm going to be calling it events as variable. Add a destructor for the constructor. Honestly, I could actually do that. So after I'm done with the constructor, I'm going to add a comment that says something like destructor. There we go. Now, for adding a destructor, if my memory is correct, I go with something like a tilde and then my mage with a pair of parentheses. Is that how we add a destructor? Ending with a semicolon. Guys, did I add it correct? Because it's been a while since I've used destructors. Okay, now let's scroll all the way down. Don't switch fast between different subjects. Focus on SDL and C++ and master it first, then learn other technologies like OpenGL or Unity. Don't repeat my mistake. That does make sense. I wasn't like actually just going to move to like, whatchamacallit, to OpenGL. Once my programming for like 258 series was over, that's when I was going to like try something new, like a game. I forgot what I wanted to say, like a game engine type stuff. That's it. Make it two-player and then Fetch will level up as you defeat the opponent. That does make sense. I might actually do that. I gotta add health bar logic as well. I do have the PNGs made and all that stuff. That's now I'm gonna go ahead and add a while loop. So I'm gonna say something like while is running, while my program is running, or while my is running is set to true. I'm gonna do something. Alright, so can you help? I make a startup type product which is based on smart mirror plus AI assistant, where the mirror is recognized by the user and talks with for improving communication. That does actually sound kind of cool. Where do you need help with there? That's next up, inside my main while loop, I'm gonna add a comment that says something like events loop. My events loop is gonna be a while loop inside of a while loop slash a nested while loop, and my events loop will be requiring a parameter. Okay, my event loop will be requiring a parameter of the SDL underscore poll events function. My SDL underscore poll events function does require parameter as well, which is going to be the memory address of my event variable. Hi Dikshit, I appreciate you joining the stream. Now, basically what the poll events function does is it like looks for all the events I'm looking for inside of my while loop. If an event is met, it does what I tell it to do. For example, I could go with something like if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore quit. If my event type is quit, if my user click the top right X button to exit my window, I'm going to do something. I want to set my is running to be false, ending with a semicolon. That ends my entire loop. I can do programming only for 10 minutes before losing focus. Guys, I did experience that so much. First, when I started like my Python for 100 series, which was I think about like 180 days ago, I used to like lose my focus really quick as well because I used to be like a Discord addict, spending like 12 or like 11 hours a day on Discord. There's like a server where I sent like 115,000 messages in like 1 year. That's off the conversation. But then the more I like worked on programming, the more I got distracted, the more I came back to it type stuff, the more my I would say like my anterior mid singular cortex, which is technically a willpower, it did like increase up and I got more sturdy to like coding, if that makes any sense. I got a mini heart attack when I saw AI logic in the caption. First, I thought you were making generative AI. Later, I realized that it would be game AI stuff. That does make sense, but I do want to eventually work on generative AI. Okay, I want to help with how I want help with how I add AI to my project, like trying OpenGL API, but I think it's not faster to give instant response. That actually does make sense. Maybe there might be like a delay. You can like use something that adds delay, but I don't have like much knowledge on that, so I might not have much recommendations there. That said, a custom game engine is really hard, dude. Make sure you understand printer and reference and other important C++ features like smart pointers and algorithms and STL and work on your problem solving skill. That does make sense. You're mad, bro? Honestly, I'm not mad. That said, let's scroll all the way up here. Okay, now my heroes class is gonna be having, let's say, something like a comments of methods. I'm gonna be adding a method in my heroes class called something like a void method of my text, actually of my event keys. So I'm gonna go with something like a method called event keys. There we go. With a pair of parentheses. Now my event keys method is gonna be requiring a parameter. Pointers, I meant not printers. Oh, I see. Have you ever heard of Somalia? Honestly, I have heard of it because my mates are sending love from here. Honestly, I appreciate you guys so much for that. Sondale or Sanchisai, is that a pronunciation name? Guys, I should work on my pronunciations. Okay, you asked ChatGPT how I can make two-player with attack, punch, defend. I actually do know how to do that. I did that in Python. I just gotta like, whatchamacallit, add that in my C++ as well. I might actually do that in a bit. Okay, next up, let's see. So I might go with something like a void events method that consists of, let's say, a parameter, a constant parameter of something like SDL underscore events structure. So I'm going to go with something like event with an asterisk to a events memory address. Then I go with the pair of curly braces. Now, inside my event key, I'm going to go ahead and use the SDL underscore key codes structure, which consists of a keys' local variable that is going to be equal to my events.key.key, ending with a semicolon. Okay, chat miss. Okay, next up, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement to look for a specific event type. But before my event type, I might have to add, let's say, a chat on this variable here, a boolean variable of chat on, because the only time I want my player to move is when my chat is not on. So I might need a few variables here as well. So I'm gonna go with something like a boolean variable of, I don't know, maybe something like a down while my A is being pushed down. This is going to be set to true. But since my A is not being pushed down, I'm going to set this to be false. And then I'm going to go with something like a D down as well, which is going to be set to false as well, ending with a semicolon. A and D buttons on my keyboard is to go left and right. Is streaming the best way of learning? Honestly, it depends. Like, few people, they don't do good under pressure, and like few people, they do good under pressure. Like, the way that I learn the best is like when I see there are a lot of people watching me, so like I get like a lot of pressure. Guys, I feel like I do better because like when I don't have pressure, I feel like, guys, there's not enough emergency for me to study. I wish I could have like streamed my college stuff as well, but apparently we can't like stream our college stuff because that would be like I would be getting A's in all classes. I mean, I did get A's in both my classes this time. Okay, you'll get 50 LPA if you do AI machine learning plus Python, because every AI machine learning guy has more chance to get 50 LPA. That does sound kind of cool. What idea are you using? VS Code or PyCharm? Honestly, I am like using Visual Studio. Java C++ is dead, I guess. Oh, I see. That's it. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and add an if statement. Look for event type. I'm gonna check something like if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. If my event type is key down, if any of my buttons in my keyboard are currently being pushed down, I'm gonna add a switch. Howdy Hassan, I appreciate you joining the stream. I'm gonna add a switch which has a parameter of my key. Then I go with the prof curly braces. Now, inside my switch, I'm gonna add a case that checks the key that is currently being pushed down. I'm gonna check if my SDL key that is being pushed down is something like A. If my A is being pushed down, I'm gonna be setting my A down boolean variable to be something like true, ending with a semicolon. Then I go ahead and break. And then for my case 2, I check if my SDL's key is something like D. If my D is being pushed down, I'm gonna set my D down boolean variable to be true, ending with a semicolon, and then I break. Can you slow down a bit? This is too fast. Honestly, that does make sense. I might actually slow down. Excuse me, guys. Now, once I'm done with adding both my cases here, I'm gonna go ahead and copy my if statement just to save time, and then paste it down here. My second event type is not going to be key down, it's going to be key up. Key up is the opposite of key down. Key up means I'm no longer pushing these A or D down, so I'm going to set these to be falses. There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna add like a third case for my key down to check if my user is currently pushing space, because I want my player to jump if my player actually pushes space type stuff. That said, bro, what are you eating? Honestly, I'm eating oats. Like, I did not eat breakfast or like anything today, so I was like, there's no way I can like code like without any energy. So I thought oats are pretty good for like energy. Bro, you write 10 lines of code in like 5 minutes because of chats. Okay, guys, I might actually not get distracted now. Next up, I'm gonna check use try catch block. Oh, I wanna actually use try catch block because that just like catches all the basic errors. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like if my SDL just keys something like space, if my user is pushing space down, then I'm gonna check something. I'll go with if a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like I don't know, maybe something like if on ground, if my player is on ground, then I'm gonna do something. I do inherit from my physics bodies as class, right? I should be having a on ground parameter. So maybe I go ahead and add a on ground parameter here as well. So I'm gonna go with something like a floating point of on grounds. Okay, perfect. Now, if my player is on ground, that's when I'm gonna go ahead and use my jump method. And let's say I'm gonna add the power to be 12. My player is gonna jump up 12 pixels. And since this is a case, I'm gonna go ahead and break here, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done adding this method, I'm gonna go ahead and add another if statement that checks if my chat is not on, that I apparently forgot it too, guys. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and copy both my if statements, delete that from there, and paste it under my chat on. So if my chat is not on, that's when I go ahead and use these event types. Okay, this guy thinks people should write 100 lines of code per minute. Your coding speed is good enough. Don't rush. That does make sense. That's it. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and scroll all the way down. Under my event loop, I'm going to go ahead and let's say do something like my chat dot, I don't know, I might use the player text events. I'm going to use the chat dot player text events as function. Set a rules. I see. Okay, game development. Honestly, it is like text-based AI logic in SDL3 using C++. Kind of like game development as well, but using AI logic too. You should make a rule after each 20 lines you'll reach chat. That does make sense. I might actually do that, guys. That said, I'm gonna add a bench variable. The second parameter is gonna be something like chat on. So I'm gonna go with something like chat on that I haven't honestly created yet. I might create a chat on, and then those are the only two variables. I end my function with a semicolon. Actually, a method. Now I'm gonna go ahead and create a chat on this variable outside my main loop. So I'm gonna go with something like chat on, a boolean variable of chat on, which is going to be set to something like false, ending with a semicolon. Now, inside my event loop, I'm going to go ahead and maybe, I don't know, use the SDL underscore key codes structure. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore key codes structure, which consists of a keys' local variable representing it that is going to be equal to my event.key.key, ending with a semicolon. Now I add a if statement. Maybe I like remove these spaces from here. So there we go. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement here to either convert my chat to be on or off. So I'm gonna go ahead and check if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. I can just suggest to you it's totally your choice. Bye bye. Honestly, I appreciate you sticking through a stream, Ray. I'll catch you next stream. All that does make sense, guys. I feel chat distracts me, so I gotta read the chats a bit less. Okay, how do you use do you know how to use pointers? Honestly, I've used pointers by using asterisk pointer point towards like a specific thing that we can like use, but if we don't use a dereferencing operator, then the pointer is going to be like a memory address, if that makes any sense. That's it. Now inside my event type key down, I'm gonna go ahead and add a switch. So my switch is gonna be consisting of, let's say, something like my key. Okay, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Now for my case one, I'm gonna check if my SDL's key is something like maybe a left shift to L shift. Okay, there we go. If my key is L shift, so there we go. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I wanna go ahead and set my chat on boolean variable to be true, ending with a semicolon. Then I break. For my second case, I check if my SDL's key is a right shift. If my user is clicking right shift, my chat on is going to be equal to something like false, ending with a semicolon. Then I go ahead and break. And that's actually pretty much it for this part, guys. Now I add my player text events method here. Then let's go with something like chat dot display player text on window. My display player text on windows method does require three parameters. The first is going to be a render parameter. The second is going to be a font that I haven't added yet. I'm going to add that in a bit, guys. The third parameter is going to be a scale, which I'm going to be setting to be something like 0.8, which is 80% of its original size. Then I add my function with a semicolon. Now, if I were to scroll all the way up here, and guys, I do gotta use the restroom as well. I might use the restroom real quick. That said, maybe after I'm done adding my fonts, okay, Vivek, bro, make someone manage or stand moderator or drop night bot. He'll handle chat, especially in vertical screens. That actually does make sense. What you may call it? I did actually add a night bot. Like I added a night bot, but apparently he does not work. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like load font. Now for my load font, maybe I drink some coffee. So guys, my coffee literally says don't chug it, sip it, because I usually chug my coffee. Okay, the drink is not going anywhere, guys. That does make sense. I should probably just drink it. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done with loading font, I'm going to go ahead and use the TDF_fonts structure, which consists of a fonts pointer that is going to be equal to, let's say, okay, let's say something like the TDF_open font. Okay, so I'm going to use the open fonts function. That does require, let's see, two parameters. The first parameter is going to be my file path, which in this case, it's going to be my fonts folder / let's say something like open sans. I think it's something like open sans -italic .tdf, and then I'm gonna add a comma and add a size for my font. I'm gonna say my size is gonna be something like 24, ending my function with a semicolon. Now, once I created a font, since this is a C++, I'm gonna use the if statement to check if my font was not created properly. So I'm gonna type something like if not font, if my font was not created properly, then I'm gonna do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and display myself in error text. I'm going to go with something like a standard C error with an insertion operator that says something like, I don't know, maybe loading font errors. So my font had a loading error. There we go. Next up, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and add another insertion operator and use the function that actually gets me an error. So I'm going to use the SDL_getErrors function with a parentheses, and I'll add another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and return one. And that's pretty much it for my font. Now I scroll all the way down. I displayed my player text event. I displayed my... Okay, honestly, I feel like display my player on Windows should be in my graphics section, not my text event. So I'm going to go with something like hero dot, let's say something like event key. Okay, so my event keys method does require, let's say, three parameters. The first parameter is going to be my event, the second parameter is going to be my chat on, and the third parameter is going to be my on grounds boolean variable, ending with a semicolon. Now, here's a real thing. I did not create a on ground, so I might go ahead and create something like a boolean variable of something like on ground, which is going to be equal to, let's say, false initially, ending with a semicolon. Okay, here's the thing. Instead of adding my on ground here, I might actually add that inside of my while loop because I wanted to like change every single frame. That said, I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. Instead of false, I'm going to check if my hero.rect.y-axis plus my hero.rect.height is either greater than or equal to my floor.y-axis. Then that means my player is like on ground. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here and I have an on ground variable as well. And that's basically everything that I can think of for my events loop. So I exit outside of my events loop, and then let's go ahead and add a comment here that says something like fill screen. I'm going to be filling my screen with a color. Did I spell screen correct? SCR, I think it's EEN. There we go. Okay, now to fill my screen, I gotta set a color for my renderer because apparently my renderer is the stuff that actually colors my screen. So I'm going to use the SDL_set render. I'm going to be setting my render to draw a color. So I'm going to use the set render draw color function. Now my set render.color function does require a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is going to be my renderer. The second, third, and fourth parameter is going to be an RGB value, which in this case I want it to be cyan. So I'm going to go with 0 to 48 and 255. Lastly, the fifth parameter is going to be alpha slash opacity, which means how transparent or not transparent I want it to be. I'm going to go with 255 because I don't want my sign to be transparent at all. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to use the SDL underscore render clears this function. Basically, what the render clear function does is it like clear slash fills my entire screen with the color of my renderer. Then I end this function with a semicolon. Maybe it's some oats because I'm kind of starving. Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and add a graphics as comment, and now I'm going to add my basic graphics. For my graphics, firstly, I want to go with something like chat dot, the display player text on Windows function. I want to display my player text on my window, which does require a few parameters. The first is going to be renderer, the second is going to be scale. I think it was font, right? Okay, the second is going to be my font, my bad guys, there we go. Font, and the third is going to be scale, ending with a semicolon. And then my bad guys, my scale is going to be something like 0.8. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go with something like my hero object dot the, let's say something like draw method. I want to draw my hero object on my window, which does require a parameter of my renderer, ending with a semicolon. Then I want to go with something like hero dot the, excuse me guys, is there something called like the display hero text on window? I forgot that, guys. There is an automate method that is going to be for my mage, a draw method for my hero, event key. I used it, gravity jump. Okay, I don't think there's any other methods for my hero. So I'm going to go ahead and work on coloring my floor, because my floor is like a graphics as well. So to do that, I'm going to use the SDL underscore set render draw color function. This function is going to set my renderer to draw a color slash add a color for my renderer. I want my floor to be brown, so the first parameter is going to be my renderer. The RGB for brown, if I remember correct, is 150, 550, and O, the RGB for brown. And the opacity is going to be 255, ending with a semicolon. Now I'm going to use the function that actually colors my window, so I'm going to use the SDL underscore render fill rect. So I'm going to say my render to fill my rect, which does require two parameters. The first parameter is going to be my renderer. The second parameter is going to be the memory address of my floor, because I am coloring my floor, ending with a semicolon. Next up, let me drink some coffee. Kinda thirsty, guys. Guys, I think I sipped it a bit too quick. I mean, the coffee is actually good, but it's not as strong as I wanted it to be. That's it. Next up, once I'm done with filling my renderer, what is something else that I might need? Let me think. Let's see. I think I gotta eat something to think. Okay, so next up I'm gonna be applying physics. My bad, guys. It's kind of deep into like talk while eating. That's it. So for my apply physics, I'm gonna go with something like hero dot the apply gravity method. Do you know what IMGY is? I know what GUI is, but I don't know what is IMGUI or IMGY. GUI is like the kind of things that are on the screen. For example, like a start button, a end button, and like a reset button. Those things that are drawn on our screen. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like apply graphics is method. My apply, actually not graphics, apply gravity. My apply gravity is a method does require two parameters. The first parameter is gonna be a on ground variable. The second parameter is going to be my floors as y-axis. There we go. Then I end my method with a semicolon. Once I'm done applying my gravity, let's see, I might go with something like hero dot. What other methods is there? There's automate, that is for NPC, gravity jump. Okay, maybe I just need gravity. Next up, I won't be working on my mage just yet. I just want to like work on my hero for the time being. So once I'm done applying my physics, I'm gonna add another comment that says something like present a render. This is going to be me presenting my renderer on my window. To present my renderer, I could use the SDL underscore render present function that does require a parameter of, let's say, something like my renderer. Basically, the reason I do present my renderer on my window is because if I don't present it, we won't see the colors because renderer is in charge of all the color management on my window. That said, finally I'm gonna add my FPS, which is frames per second. Now for my FPS, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore delays function, which does require parameter in milliseconds. In this case, I'm gonna go with something like 16 milliseconds, which is basically 60 frames per second, ending with a semicolon. And then finally, I exit outside of my if statement or outside of my main loop and add a comment that says something like cleanup. Hey bro, happy to see you again. Honestly, I appreciate you. This is I pronounce your name. Happy to see you as well. So now for my cleanup, firstly, I want to destroy my windows. I'm gonna go with something like SDL underscore destroy windows function, which does require parameter of my window ending with a semicolon, and then a SDL underscore renderers function. Actually, destroy renderer. There we go. Let's go with something like destroy renderer, which does require parameter of my renderer ending with a semicolon. And then I want to quit my SDL, so I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore quit with a parentheses ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I return 0. So with IMGUI, you can make UI and control panels. You can directly change the position of player or change the texture of anything while running, so you don't have to closely compile every time. That actually does sound really cool. Might look into that. And yeah, you can also use IMGUI for UI and add start button or anything you want. I might actually look into that in that case because that's kind of fun. That's it. Now, once I'm done with this, I forgot one crucial thing, guys. I gotta use the SDL underscore start text input. So I'm gonna start my text input, which does require parameter of my Windows parameter. There we go. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, guys, after like an hour and 30 minutes, I get my console here and I get my window here as well. It's compiling, guys. Give it a bit. Let's see. Guys, why does the window take so long to compile? There we go. Okay, my window compiled and my render is here as well. But I do not see my players' image on my window. If I were to enable my chat, type something like hello, I can see my hello. It is displayed on my console, but I don't see my my heroes' PNG anywhere. What could the reason be? Did I draw my hero? So I go with hero.draw. Okay. Let's scroll all the way up to my hero. Okay, where's my heroes? Actually, my physics body is this class. Okay, so my draw method inside of my physics body is this class requires renderer. Okay, and then it requires texture, requires null PDR, and rect. And my heroes' class here has a position of 100 100 scale. So my texture is my heroes' PNG. My rect is the rect that okay, I don't have my rect inside of my heroes class, so this is like some sort of random rect. So I think I was correct, guys. I might actually copy my rect from here. So I might just use this for x-axis and y-axis. So let's copy that, delete it from here. And I'm going to set my rex's parameters inside of my heroes' constructor here. So inside my constructor, I'm going to go ahead and paste this here. Scroll all the way up. Copy this part, delete this from here, scroll all the way down here, let's go ahead and paste this. There we go. So I set my textures as width and height here. Okay, and that's like pretty much it. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command again, let's see what happens. I get my console here, and I get my window here. This time, I see my player falling down, and guys, I couldn't get my window fast enough for you guys to see the gravity, but if I do jump, my gravity does work. I cannot move towards the left and towards the right, probably because my chat is on. Okay, I cannot move towards the left and right because I did not add that method just yet, or maybe I get it wrong. Okay, apply gravity ground flow over every frame, but no proper collision resolution. So the hero is basically falling with permission, not physics. I see that actually it does make sense, but whatchamacallit, I did want my gravity to like work with permissions because once he's down here, he does not like actually fall anymore. That said, since I can move to the left and right, that is because I have like stuff written up there. I want to get my chat's position, which is all the way up here above my hero's head. To do that, I'm gonna scroll all the way down here till my let's say apply physics class. Maybe shouldn't I apply graphics? I don't know, maybe I didn't apply physics. I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I go with something like my chat. Let's go with something like my chat dot, let's say x-axis is going to be equal to my hero.rect.x-axis, my heroes x-axis, plus my hero.rect.width minus my chat.rect. Let's say something like width. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide it by 2 and it with a semicolon. This is basically a formula for it to be above my player's head. Okay, this is my chat's x-axis. I gotta go with something like chat.rect.x-axis. Now I'm gonna go with something like chat.rect.y-axis. Okay, the hero PNG is either not being loaded / rendered at all, no SDL texture draw call, or it's being drawn before the screen is cleared / off screen, so it never appears. Honestly, it didn't appear because I didn't actually set its position properly. I changed that and it actually did work. That said, now I'm gonna go with something like my hero.rect.y-axis minus my chat.rect.height minus 10. Guys, this took me so long to memorize this formula, but now that I did memorize it, I understand what this actually means. If I did Control S to save the code and run the command, I get my console and my window here, so my hero just falls downwards. I get my console here. Let's enable my chat, type something like hello. My chat is above my hero's head. If I did enter, it displays on my console. If I did left shift, that disables my chat. So I can exit my window and my console as well. And that's like pretty much it for my keyboard. Although, is there something else that I needed? Oh yeah, I forgot. I gotta actually move my player around. So my hero.event key is something. Oh, I see, guys. So when I added my event keys as variable here, I did not even add like an if statement to actually move my or change my player's position. So I'm going to do that here real quick. I'm going to add a pair of parentheses and check something like if my hero, let's say something like if my A down is set to true, if my user is currently pushing my A down, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Is that still inside my if statement here? Okay, it's not. So let's go ahead and copy this part, delete it from there, and maybe paste it all the way here. Now, if my A down is set to true, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to add a pair of curly braces and then set my hero.rect.x-axis to decrease by my x-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. Maybe I just go with rect.x-axis because this is like my hero's class. And then I'm going to add another if statement that checks something like if my D is currently being pushed down. If it is, then I'm going to do something. I'm going to set my rect.x-axis to increase by my x-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. And then I'd maybe eat something because I'm kind of starving. So I get my console here and my window here. Now, my player can move around if I like click my buttons here. Do you know what is a lambda function? Honestly, I am going to be using a lambda function here as well for my text input type stuff. Okay, nice bro. Today your explanation feels calmer and cleaner. This place really suits technical content. It actually does make sense. I appreciate you, and that actually means the world to me, guys. That's it. Speaking of lambda function, since I don't want to like forget, I might actually add it right here. So firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and create a standard string function called something like to lower, which is gonna be, let's say, consisting of a parameter of a standard string of, I don't know, maybe let's say standard string of the memory address of a text, and then I go with the pair of curly braces. This function is actually to lowercase my user's text, so whatever my user types is all going to be lowercase because user could like user input is very unpredictable, guys. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces, the string module, the string library, because I will be using strings here. Why does my include seem a bit dark here? What up, guys? Maybe I go ahead and include again. Let's go with something like hashtag include a pair of ankle braces. I want to include string. There we go. Okay, for some reason string just gets dark. That's it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use the standard transform function. The standard transform, I think it's FORM. There we go. My standard transforms this function does require 3 iterators and 1 function. The first iterator is gonna be something like my text dot begin. Where does my text start? Okay, are you an Indian? Honestly, I haven't like been to India yet, but I'm kind of excited to like visit India someday. That said, the second iterator is going to be something like text.end. Where is my text end? Lastly, my third iterator is going to be my text.begin. Where is my text located? Inside of my console. And then I go ahead and add a comma here. Now the fourth parameter is going to be a function. This is where I use a lambda function. I'm going to use a pair of square brackets, and then it gets darker because you already included the string header. Did I? IO stream, SDL3, map, vector. Oh, I did. Guys, I feel like you guys have like the eyes of hawks or something. Like, how did I not realize that I already included strings? That's it. For my lambda, I'm gonna go with something like unsigned character of something like, I don't know, maybe this is gonna be in a pair of parentheses. Okay, it's been a while since I've used a lambda function, so I'm gonna go with something like a pair of parentheses for every unsigned character of C, or like if I get an unsigned character of C, then I'm gonna go ahead and return, let's say something like, maybe I just had a pair of curly braces, and return, let's say something like C. Excuse me guys, okay, is this part correct? I'm pretty sure it is. Then I go ahead and end my function with a semicolon here. And then let's end my entire function here. Okay, maybe I don't return C, I return the standard to lower, so let's go with something like to lower C. I lowercase my character of C. Then I go ahead and end my function with a semicolon, and then end everything with a semicolon right here. There we go. And this is going to be transform. Transform. Guys, did I spell transform wrong or something? Namespace std has no member transform. How do we spell transform, guys? FROM. Okay, namespace std has no member transform. The standard transform. Guys, did I spell transform wrong? Hold up, let's go ahead and delete that. Go with something like here. I'm gonna go ahead and type something like transformed. Okay, doesn't standard have a transform? Because I'm pretty sure I gotta add something like transform. Just curious, bro. Are you in school or doing graduation right now? Honestly, I am in college. That's doesn't string already have to lower case built-in function? Honestly, this is my to lower function that I created, but this is the standard libraries to lower that actually lowercase is what I type. Okay, standard string of transform. Transform consists of, was it wrong? Is this function something different? Hold up guys, if I were to go to my C++ code, might as well save this before going. I do require transform, right? So see, I went with a standard string of transform here. Guys, I'm really stupid. Okay, here's the thing. Even though I did return transform, the reason it probably shows an error is because I gotta return my text, because whatchamacallit, this is a standard string up to lower. Okay, so I go with something like standard string to lower function. Am I really messing something up here? Let me think real quick. So I go with something like return. Maybe I go ahead and open my C++ practice project again. Just want to see if I actually did something wrong. I have a standard string of text that has a standard transform. I did everything correct though. Okay, character of C, I return to lower C. For transform, you need to include alg. There we go, guys. That's one reason that I need to actually focus on, because there are a few functions that I actually don't know what to include. So let's go ahead and include the algorithm. Is there a way to like figure out that if I needed a library for this? Because that was kind of stupid in a way, because I knew that I had to include algorithm, but for some reason I thought that I needed to use a standard string for transform. That didn't make any sense, guys. Okay, let me hydrate my lips real quick. Okay, perfect. Now that I've added a function that converts, that lowers my character, or what do I type here? Once I actually display it on my window, or maybe on my console as well, I want to go ahead and check something. I want to go ahead and lowercase my text. So how do I do that? Once I display it on my histories and then I clear my text, I might go with something like maybe input text dot to lower. So I'm gonna go ahead. Actually, once I type in input text, okay, this is an input text. Once I type it here, I'm gonna go with something like input text. Okay, so I'm gonna go with input text. Maybe I'll go with something like my to lower function first. I want to lowercase my input text. Okay, and then I go ahead and end my function with a semicolon. Okay, I mean, I could go ahead and lowercase all my input text, but when I do type something, I do want it to be a bit capitalized. Only thing that won't be capitalized is once it's inside of my vector and it displays on my console. Input text, okay, perfect. Now, if I were to scroll all the way down here, let's scroll all the way down here. What else did I need? Since I'm done with creating my players as part, now I'm going to be working on my mages section. Now, for my mage, do I need any kind of methods? Let's see. I did not add a destructor for my hero, so I might go ahead and add a comment that says something like destructor. For my heroes, I'm going to add a tilde operator and go with something like my heroes is constructor ending with a semicolon. Now let's see, is there something that I might need inside my mages class? Any kind of parameters? I think I know what parameters I might need. I might go ahead and copy this part. Okay, and then let's scroll all the way down till my mages constructor. Inside my mages constructor, I'm gonna go ahead and paste this so I get my mages textures as width and height. And then once I'm done with this, I might have to automate my mage and all that stuff. But why do you want your text to be lowercase? Because eventually I'm going to be like iterating over my text type stuff, and then depending on what I typed, I want to change my mage's mood and all that stuff, and depending on his mood, he's going to be replying. So I gotta add like a storylines as class type stuff. That's let's scroll all the way down here. Now inside my events loop, I'm gonna go with something like mage dot. Let's see. My mage does not have any methods. Wait, I did not create a mage's object here, so I'm gonna go with something like mage with a pair of parentheses that does require two parameters, renderer and scale, which is gonna be something like 0.2 ending with a semicolon. Now I go with something like mage under my event loop, so I'm gonna go with something like mage dot. Let's see. Mage dot apply gravity. Nope. Mage dot automate. What does my automate method require? No parameters, so that might go inside my physics body. Mage dot gravity, that is inside of my physics body as well. Okay, there's nothing that my mage might actually need here. Okay, so apparently my mage does not require any event types. I'm gonna go ahead and remove my mage from there. And under my graphics, I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know, maybe go with something like mage dots. Let's say something like draw. I want to go ahead and draw my mage here. That does require a parameter of my renderer ending with a semicolon. I draw my mage. Under the under my apply physics, I'm gonna go with something like mage dot apply gravity. So I'm gonna use the apply gravity method on my mage. That does require two parameters. The first parameter of something like on ground. The second parameter is gonna be my floors is y-axis ending with a semicolon. Alright guys, there we go. Let's go ahead and delete that part. Now, once I'm done applying my gravity on my mage, I want to set my chat to be above my mage's head. But for that, I gotta create maybe a separate chat for my mage, I'm assuming. I mean, I do just have one chat, right? So I might go with something like chat.rect. Does my mage need another chat? I don't think so. Okay, I'm gonna add my mage's chat in a bit. Before that, I'm gonna go ahead and add another method for my mage. I'm gonna go with something like mage.automate. So I'm gonna go with something like mage.theautomate method. That does not require any parameters ending with a semicolon. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my... Okay, I did not get a console. Stream label with text AI logic seems physics. What the frick? Guys, honestly, I did like whatchamacallit. I didn't completely like start my... I mean, I did like start a bit of AI-based text logic, but today I want to like wrap this up. I've been doing AI-based text logic for like really long time, guys. That's sad. Public reference function in main unresolved eternal symbol public. Did I like get an error somewhere? Hold up, guys. If I were to go with F11, get my whatchamacallit, my debugger on. Let's see what happens. Let's go ahead and exit this. Your mage moves around. If not, I don't think the mage needs a gravity apply function. I mean, that does make sense, but instead of like actually setting my mage to like a static function, I just want him to like fall down with the gravity type stuff. Because guys, I'm too lazy to like actually set a position for him. That said, let's see. if I were to go to my debugging here, let's start debugging with F5. I forgot what to hit for debugging. Let's go with something like F5. F5, F5. Maybe I just spam hold it until I find an error. Is this how debugging works, guys? Okay. Oh, guys, I think I was debugging it the wrong way. Before, when I started my stream like a while ago, I did debug, but I don't know if like I'm doing it correct this time. Wait, is it because of my destructor? Impressive, good working. Honestly, I appreciate you, Waymondo. Guys, that actually means the world to me. Next up, okay, to see where I got an error. Firstly, could I just like remove these methods from here? I'm gonna remove my apply gravity. If I did control S to save the code and run the command. What are you learning? Honestly, I'm working on AI-based text logic in SDL3 using C++. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and remove my draw method as well. Let's see if it works. So, if I did control S to save the code and run the command. Okay, slow down. Maybe it's a runtime error that's causing a crash. That does make sense. Okay, because before my Mage, so let's scroll all the way up here. Oh, maybe I think I figured out the error. So technically, it could be because I get my textures as width and height. Is it because of my destructors? Let's go ahead. Oh, I think it is because I added wrong destructors, guys. I actually forgot how to add destructors. That might be the only error here. So now I'm gonna scroll all the way here. Let's go ahead and do something like Mage.draw. So I'm gonna go with something like Mage.draw with a prof parentheses that does require renders as parameter ending with a semicolon. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add something like Mage.apply gravity with a prof parentheses that does require two parameters, a on ground boolean variable and a floors as y-axis, ending my function with a semicolon. So there we go. And then I might go with something like my Mage.automate, which does not require any parameters, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, guys. It was a destructor. And here's my Mage. My Mage is not being automated because he cannot move from the static position here. Probably because he's too big. I might change my x-axis of my Mage to be something like 500, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I were to run the code again, let's see what happens. I'm not going to be getting my console here. My Mage, for some reason, is stuck up here. That could be because of his automate method. Okay, let's go up to my Mage's class. So, let's see. In my Mage's class, when I add a constructor for my Mage, or actually my automate method, let's see. There we go. Rect.x-axis decreases by 5 pixels per frame. Let's change that to be something like 0. Okay, Mage.x-axis equals to 800. I'm gonna go ahead and change that to be something like 500. Destructor's job is to free memory. I don't think an empty destructor can cause a crash. Honestly, as soon as I like remove my destructor, it started working. That's it. Hiding Ashwaj, I appreciate you joining the stream. Now, if I run the code, let's see what happens. I get this thing here. I get my Mage here. For some reason, my Mage is not moving per frame. What could the reason be? I have a automate method here. If it's if it's less than 0, my bad, guys. I went with greater than 0. My position is going to be 800 because my Mage's position is always greater than 0 because it is at 800. Your PC configurations. Honestly, I did like make a whole video of me actually building the PC, but guys, I still have like zero knowledge whatsoever in PCs. That's it. Exactly. That's it. This is going to be something like negative 100. Now, I'm going to change my position of my Mage back to, let's say, something like 600, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did control S to save the code and run the command, I get my console here. I get my Mage here that does move around. Okay. I should have checked if like this thing was on. Like the only time I want my Mage to move around is when my chat is like not on. Okay, actually I only want my chat is off, but okay, it does kind of move. I just gotta like change a few settings here. So I might tweak a few things up here. First thing that I do really want to tweak is my Mage's size. Instead of going with 0.2, I might go with something like 0.15. Now if I did control S to save the code again and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my window up here. Okay, I mean my mage does kind of move. I just gotta change a few. Okay, it's not like a smooth movement. I mean that is gonna be pretty easy to change. I could just go all the way up here till my mage's class, change -100 to be something like -200, x-axis to be something like 900. Okay, now if I were to control us again, let's see, I get my console here and my window here. Okay, so my mage just goes there. There we go. Okay, that's actually perfectly smooth, guys. And can I jump above my mage? I mean, I know it's not like pixel perfect collision, but I did not add pixel perfect yet, but I might actually want to add that. Why is it so glitchy when I move? Like, I do move, but it's not like a smooth movement. Like, you guys see the glitch here? Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and exit all of this here. Now, if I were to scroll all the way down, I'm done with my mage's regular movement. Now, I want to add my mage's reply, but the only time I want my mage to actually automate, I'm going to add a parameter here of something like boolean chat on. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement up here. Let's go with something like if a prof parentheses only when my chat is not on. If not chat on, that's the only time I want my mage to move. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, and let's go ahead and paste it here. There we go. Okay, howdy, long story. I appreciate you joining the stream. Bro, you play Clash of Clans? Honestly, no, I've like heard a lot about it, but I haven't like tried that. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and require chat on variable here. So I'm gonna go with something like chat on. Can you make chat on variable and global variable, and then you can use it everywhere? Honestly, I couldn't like do that because I want my chat on to like change. I mean, I could if I wanted, I could do that, but then I want my chat on variable to like change every single frame depending on if I click left shift or right shift. So it's, I mean, I could actually, this is like a global variable. I can like use it anywhere inside my while loop. Okay, show me the movement of the player. Okay, I mean the function that moves the player. Okay, let me scroll all the way up here until my physics bodies is class. So, what up, guys? I think I scrolled like way too high. There we go. So, in my physics, maybe not physics body, there we go. In my event keys method, so I have a void method called something like events and a chat on and a floating point of ground. Excuse me, guys. So, explain it. Okay, so I have a key codes structure here that actually checks if my buttons are being pushed down in my keyboard. Then I add a if statement to check only if my chat is not on. That's when I want my player to move. I add a if statement to check the buttons that's currently being pushed down. I add a few checks here. If D down is set to true, actually my D button is being pushed down. I set my D down to be true. Then I break. I do the same with my A down. And then I go with something like my SDL's space type stuff. I do the same for key up, but I change my trues to be false so that my buttons are no longer being pushed down. Show the player movement function. Honestly, yeah, this is my player movement function. And then I use if statement to check if those variables are currently set to true. If they are, then I do something. That's it, guys. I want to use the restroom real quick. I might actually use the restroom while you guys actually like look at this function here. Let me just zoom out a bit. There we go. So this is my entire method here. I'm just going to be adding this here and using the restroom real quick, guys. Hold up, maybe let me just remove my webcam from here real quick. Let me just hide that. Let's go ahead and hide that and that. Okay, hold on, guys. There we go. Okay, I'm going to use the restroom real quick. Give me a sec. I'll be right back, guys. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, back, guys. Give me a sec. Let me open my webcam real quick. There we go. Okay, let's go all the way down here. Okay, can you show the x-axis velocity and y-axis velocity variables? honestly, those variables are all the way up here in my physics bodies as constructor. How doing Inksolil or Inksuchil, is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Clean code structure, brother. Honestly, I appreciate you long straight, guys. It actually means the world to me. That said, next up, let's see. Let me go ahead and scroll all the way down here. What if I actually added these two variables? Let's go ahead and copy those. Let me go ahead and delete that. What if I added those variables as parameters here? I might go with something like a floating point variable of y-axis velocity. Okay, this is going to be y-axis underscore velocity. I'm going to require the same parameter here as well. I'll go with something like a floating point of y-axis underscore velocity and a floating point here of something like x-axis underscore velocity and a floating point of y-axis underscore velocity. Okay, and then I scroll all the way down here. Let's go ahead and require a parameter here inside my event of something like a floating point of x-axis underscore velocity, because I won't be using y-axis here. My jump strength requires a y-axis velocity, so I might need a floating point of y-axis underscore velocity as well. Okay, now I'm gonna add a parameter here of my y-axis underscore velocity. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Let's scroll all the way down till my game variables. I'm gonna go ahead and paste these two variables right here. And then for my event key, I require x-axis and y-axis. I'm gonna go with x-axis velocity, y-axis underscore velocity. Scroll all the way down here. My gravity requires a y-axis underscore velocity, so I'm gonna go with y-axis underscore velocity. I guess that's why the player movement ain't smooth, because it isn't transitioning in the movement, because you're moving by 5 steps. I mean, I think the 5 steps is kind of, I mean, I usually like use the 5 step. That might be the reason as well. But I think it's because I didn't add, like, let's go with y-axis velocity here. It's probably because I didn't add my y-axis velocity inside of my main function. So it's like one class inheriting from the second class and that's being used inside of my method, if that makes any sense. My automate method requires a x-axis underscore velocity and a y-axis underscore velocity. And now, if I did control us to save the code and run the command and see what happens. Okay, yeah, also he isn't using delta time. There we go. Okay, I go really slow now because I do not have like a gravity here, so I might actually require a gravity parameter as well. So let's scroll all the way up here. I'm gonna go ahead and delete my gravity from here. I'm gonna go ahead and require a gravity variable here as well. Let's go with something like a floating point of gravity. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like gravity. Let's scroll all the way down. Do I need gravity anywhere else? Maybe not, so I'm gonna go ahead and require a gravity's variable here. Let's go with something like a gravity. Okay, wait, this is apply gravity, so this might need a gravity here. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like gravity, and then I'm gonna need a gravity up there as well. Let's go with something like gravity. Now, I forgot to actually add my gravity variable up in my game variable, so I'm gonna go ahead and paste this here. Okay, now, if I did control S to save the code, this is going to be gravity. That's going to be something like 0.5. Now, if I did control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Did I miss something up here? It says x-axis velocity definition, multiple initializations. Did I remove my gravity from my class up here? Let's scroll all the way up here till my physics bodies class. I removed my gravity. It says line 121, so somewhere here. Okay, and then x-axis velocity redefinition, multiple initializations, y-axis velocity redefinitions, argument double to float. Hold up, guys, let's scroll all the way down here. Oh, I have two x-axis velocities. There we go. Let's go ahead and remove that. You define x-axis velocity 2 times above gravity variable. That actually does make sense, guys. Now, if I did control S to save the code and run the command, I get my console here and my window here, but they go really slow this time. I know exactly why this happens, but I actually need to check like how to fix it. Hold up, guys. I got this error like so many times before, but I like never actually, let's see. So under my is running, I require a gravity variable for my hero. Okay. And then I require a gravity variable for my mage as well. what is the difference between me having a gravity variable? Sure, so my y-axis velocity increases by my gravity. This is exactly the same, but apparently, probably because my method is inside of a physics body. Are you using own assets? Or honestly, I did like draw these assets. Okay, in that case, I might just copy because since, okay, I do know why this is happening. Probably it's happening because my variables are inside my game variables that do not always change because it changes back to like my initial value every single iteration. To fix that, I would have to get my apply gravity method inside of my main loop. But I don't actually want to do that. So I might just paste these three variables back here, change gravity value and play around with it. Honestly, my gravity value is actually correct, but then the thing that was actually wrong was I need to get my entire apply gravities function inside. What up, guys? I need to get my entire apply gravities function inside of my main loop. That's when it's actually gonna work. Okay, where are you, bro? I don't see you in. Wait, you guys don't see me? Where are you, bro? I didn't see you, bro. Who talks here? Guys, I think like I'm pretty sure I like on my camera. Can you guys like see me? I think I did like on my camera. What up, guys? Okay, can you guys actually like see my webcam type stuff? Okay, that's now let's go ahead and scroll all the way down. If I did control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, I get my window here, where they do fall pretty with a pretty decent speed. Although we can see you. I see. Okay, then SDL underscore sleep, when you added that, what does that do? SDL underscore sleep, when did you add that? Honestly, I didn't use the SDL underscore sleep. I used the SDL underscore delay function. Okay, I used the SDL underscore delay function for like, whatchamacallit, for like delaying my movement. So it's like 5 pixels per frame type stuff. That said, before when I did this, like my movement was pretty smooth, but for the past 2 streams, my movement is kind of glitchy. What if I try increasing my speed maybe? Let's go all the way up here. I want to try increasing my speed to something like 6 pixels per frame. Could it be because of that, guys? Let's go with something like 6 pixels per frame. Forward Control S to save the code and run the command. Let's see what happens. So I get my window here. Okay, I mean, it is like much better. It's probably because like my frame is being drawn every single iteration type stuff. Okay, that said, I might change this back to 5 because I feel 6 is too quick. Okay, bro, we can. Okay, there we go. That's it. Now, once I'm done with this, inside of my chats class, I gotta go ahead and add a wide method now for my storyline. Why isn't there collision and what's the agenda of today? Honestly, I did not add a collision yet because my main topic for the stream is like AI-based text logic and SDL3 using C++. So for that, I'm like mostly working on like AI logic here. That's it. Now for the actual AI-based text logic, I gotta firstly create a void method called something like storyline. So I'm gonna go with something like void storyline. This is where my main story is going to be played. It does not require any parameters, but I am going to be requiring an enum for, let's say, my moods. I gotta go ahead and create moods type stuff. So inside my chats class, I'm gonna go ahead and create a enum for something like mood, which is going to be equal to a pair of curly braces. I might go with something like angry. Okay, I have a angry mood. I have a happy mood. Let's go with something like happy mood. And I have a sad mood. I'm going to remove the equal to from here, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done, adding my enum of moods, I'm going to go ahead and create a few maps slash dictionaries here type stuff. Why C++? Guys, I feel like it was one of the best languages for like writing games and all that. So I was like, might as well learn C++. That's it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and create a standard map, which consists of a standard string as my key and a standard string as my value. My map is gonna be called something like angry for my angry mood, and then I create another standard map with a pair of ankle braces that only consists of something like standard string as my key and a standard string as my value. I'm going to be calling my map something like happy, ending with a semicolon, and then a standard map with a pair of ankle braces of something like standard string for my key and a standard string for my value. I'm going to be calling my map something like sad, ending with a semicolon. Those were the 3 maps that I needed. Now I need to drink some coffee because I feel like I'm getting kind of exhausted. and then maybe eat some oats as well to like get my energy back. Okay, so my initial mood from NPC is going to be set to happy anyway, semicolon. Now, in my storylines is of method, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, let's see, I might go ahead and add something like, let's say if my mood is sad, so I might want to add a few replies based on my mood. So I go with something like if, a pair of parentheses, let's say something like if my mood equals to angry. Okay, and actually my mood equals to angry, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Before I actually do something here, I might want to go ahead and add a few replies. I'm gonna go with something like my angry map, okay, which is gonna be consisting of a key and value for something like hello. If in my angry map I say something like hello, I want to go ahead and set the value to be something like okay, let's go with something like get out of my sight, exclamation. Okay, get out of my sight, fool. Okay, then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Next up, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this to like save time. Let's go ahead and paste this here, and paste this here. That is for hello. I'm gonna go with something like bye. Let's say something like perish fool. Let's go with something like perish fool, exclamation. And then for something like how are you, I'm gonna go with something like how are you. Let's say something like you disgust me. I don't know, guys, I don't know what to say. Okay, you disgust me, fool. I feel like I'm kind of bad when it comes to like storytelling and all that stuff. And then let's go with something like sorry. Okay, let's go with something like sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says, or a value that says something like no more chats. Let's go with something like no more chats. Fool. Guys, I don't know why there's a lot of fools here. Let's go with something like uppercase fool. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my angry. Now, I might actually add a few for my happy and sad as well. So this is my happy, that's gonna be my sad. Let's change my angries to be something like happy. Let's change that to be something like happy as well. I'm gonna go ahead and change this to be happy. And guys, I know this is morely the manual typing type stuff and all that, but then I just realized that it's not gonna be that easy to add generative AI inside of our actual loop without using Python and all that stuff. So I might have to like add my generative AI inside of my game once I learn Python. That's it. If I'm happy and my player said hello, then I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something like hello, my friend. Let's go with something like hello, my... Maybe I go with hello, my best of friend, though, guys. Maybe I'll just go with something like friend. Okay, and then for bye, I'm gonna say something like farewell, traveler. Okay, ... May we meet again. Okay, for a beginner, that does actually make sense. That's it. How are you? Let's say something like I'm doing great, exclamation. And then for sorry, let's say something like no more apologies. Let's say something like no more apologies, friend. Okay, and then that is for my happy. Now I'm gonna go with something like my sad. Let's copy my sad. Let's go ahead and paste it here. Let's paste it here and paste it here. If I'm sad and my player says something like hello, my NPC will reply saying something like hello with a crying emoji, exclamation. Then if my player says something like bye and my NPC is sad, I'm gonna say something like I don't know, maybe something like don't leave me, traveler. Okay, traveler. There we go. And if I'm sad, my player says how are you? Let's say something like I'm filled with sorrow and grief. Okay, guys, I don't know how to make this more cheesier. And then if I'm sad, if my NPC is sad and my player says sorry, let's say something like okay, I apologize as well, ... Actually, exclamation. Okay, bro, this is C or C++. Which language? Honestly, it is C++. That said, once I'm done with that, before I actually add my replies, depending on my mood, I want to go ahead and do something. Firstly, let's say, what is it that I might want to do? So maybe I change my class's name to be something like NPC replies. Let's go with something like NPC replies. So this is my NPC replies class. Next up, howdy Deekshit, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, what is it that I might need? Let me think. These are my NPC replies. The next thing that I might need could be something like, I don't know, maybe display the replies on my window. But before I do display my replies on my window, I might actually have to create a standard string function called something like get NPC or get reply. This is going to be my player's reply, which does require a parameter of a standard string. Maybe a constant standard string. Standard string will be the same as well, of the memory address of my input text. Okay, then I go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, what is it that I want to return here? Maybe I go ahead and return something like my input text. Hold up, guys, let me think real hard for this part. So if I get my reply, okay, I'm just going to be returning my input text. I'll see if something is wrong later on, guys. That's it. Let's go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now, after I'm done creating my standard string of get replies method, what is another method that I might need? Maybe I want to eat something real quick. Kind of starving, guys. Hold on. There we go. Maybe I go with something like a void method for something like event keys. So I'm going to go with something like NPC text event. There we go. My NPC text events method is going to be requiring a constant parameter of the SDL underscore events structure, which consists of, let's say, the memory address of my events local variable. And then I go with a row of curly braces. Now, inside my method, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Hey, what are you doing? Honestly, I'm working on text-based AI logic in SDL3 using C++. That said, now, for my NPC text events method, I'm going to go ahead and, let's say, require SDL underscore key codes structure, which consists of a keys local variable representing it, that is going to be equal to event.key.key, which checks the exact key that's currently being pushed down inside, like the current key that's being pushed in my keyboard. And then, do I need something like a chat on or off? I don't think that I need a chat on or off. Maybe I do, so I'm going to go ahead and require a parameter of a boolean chat on. Now, inside my method, I'm going to add a comment that says something like if and only if my chat is on, then I'm going to do something. If your function doesn't change class members, then mark the members as constant optimization. If your function doesn't change class, honestly, it does not, then mark members as constant. I see. Okay, that said, if my chat is on, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to add a if statement to look for event type. I'm going to check if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. If my event type is key down, if my user is pushing some kind of... Wait, I might not actually need my event type for key down. Let's see. This is for like if I want to type something. Instead, I want to go ahead and reply something. So I'm going to go with something like... let's say if my get reply, so if the reply that I get is my input text, okay, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. If my get reply is input text, my get reply consists of an input text. If it is an input text, something that I want to do, let's see. Speaking of which, I don't think I might need like text events for my method here. I mean, for my NPC reply method. So instead, I might actually delete this part. No, honestly, I need a text event. Let's see. So I need a text event to check if any of my buttons are currently being pushed down. Oh, guys, I think I need a text event. My bad, guys. Okay, so I'm going to add a if statement here. Maybe I go with Control Z to get my previous if statement back here. Alright, guys, there we go. So if my event type is down, if any of my buttons are being pushed down, I'm going to look for which button is being pushed down. I'm going to be adding a switch here, which is going to be having a key as a parameter. Then for my case one, I'm going to check, is this a code for an app, or are you making one? Honestly, I'm working on game logic and AI-based text logic at the same time, where my user types something, and depending on my NPC's mood, he replies accordingly. That said, so I'm gonna check if my SDL's key is something like return. If my user clicks enter on his keyboard, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and let's see. I want to check if my user types something. So depending on what my user types, I want to display my reply. So okay, so I get my reply. But before that, I see. So I'm gonna go with something like history. Dot back if history is not empty. Hold on, guys. I'm thinking really hard here, bro. Please don't talk in an American accent. Can't understand. She, please. At least I don't want to. So programming wannabe stream. At least I don't want to. So programming in wannabe stream. Guys, I think like this is the only accent that I know, so it's gonna be hard to actually speak in some other accent. That said, if I go with something like if a pair of parentheses, what if I type something like maybe I need some coffee to think. Hold on, guys. Will you learn web dev future, or would you know it? Honestly, yeah, maybe the next series, once I'm done with my programming for like 250 series, I might actually like try making a website type stuff. That's it for the time being. I gotta like figure this part out. Let me think real quick. So, when is it that I actually want my player's text to be displayed on my window? NPC text event. Okay, maybe I delete this for the time being. I would not need this. Instead, I would need a void method. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me get all my things here. Guys, for some reason my PC just like froze. Okay, let's close my FPS. And guys, I was like literally like, I was panicking way too much. I thought that my whatever code I wrote here wasn't going to get saved, but there was an option to like recover. That's it. What was I going to do here? So I was going to check. Why did I type hi? Maybe instead of type, was I going to type something like if my event.type equals to SDL underscore key underscore down. NPC text events is window. Hold up, guys. Let's just go ahead and reset all this. Huh. Okay, here's the thing. Do I want to like try this next stream? Because this stream I feel like I'm too exhausted. That's it. Let's exit my Discord. Let's see. Maybe I'm just going to complete this part and then I'm going to like probably wrap it up. That's it. Let's see. So a standard string of reply. So once I go ahead and get a reply, I forgot the next part. Maybe I go to my C++'s project. Let's save everything from here. And let's see. So basically what I did in my second project, I go with display text on window. This is for my player. Update mood. I was going to add that method eventually. For my standard string of get reply. There we go. That requires two parameters, a keyword and a mood. I check if my mood is something, I reply with some kind of text. There we go. This is something that I was actually forgetting. And then later on, I go with something like my NPC mode reply. This was the second part that I was going to do. Okay, so apparently, let me go back to my SDL3 project. The thing that I wrote here, this wasn't half wrong, but it wasn't like completely correct. So under my get replies, what should we call it? I require include text is. Alright, mic testing, mic testing. Guys, I forgot to go to my streaming gameplay. Oh my gosh. I was just... Guys, this is kind of annoying. I was just talking while being in my streaming gameplay. I mean, actually in my starting soon overlay. Okay, that's it. Let's see. Although, yeah, basically what I was telling is the reason my PC just froze, I don't know why, but then I was so glad that I could like recover everything here. And what I was saying is like, what if I actually did not add my NPC replies conversations blankly here? Instead, I added that inside of my get reply. So I would need an input text, and the second parameter could be my mood. So I go with something like chat mood. Okay, this is going to be my chatsys class. Hold on, guys. There we go. Okay, and then I go ahead and remove my return from here. So now, what if I were to like type something like if a pair of parentheses, depending on my mood, I want to return, let's say, a kind of reply. So what if I go with something like if my mood equals to angry, okay, and let's say something like my input text, and depending on my input text, so this should be my key. So depending on if my input text is angry, then I go ahead and return something. Let's go ahead and return, I don't know, maybe something like angry to angry. My angries is mapped at index of my input text. That is going to be my key, what my user actually types. And I want to go ahead and respond with a value, which in this case is going to be my actual value. I might not need to like write my literal value. Okay, so if mode is angry, I return angry at index of input text. Next up, I'm going to go with something like else if a pair of parentheses, my mood is equal to something like happy, then I'm going to do something. I'm going to go ahead and return something. Let's go ahead and return to, okay, happy at index of input text, ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go with something like else if a pair of parentheses, if my mood is equal to something like sad, I'm gonna go ahead and return something like sad at index of my input text, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with this, let's see. I gotta add an else as well, honestly. I'm gonna go with something like an else clause with a pair of curly braces that has a standard console output with an insertion operator. Let's say something like ... with another insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, here's the thing. Do I gotta add a standard console output like return? Maybe I add a standard console output. And that's pretty much it for my standard string. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and create another method. Show the process. Do you mean like progress? I could actually show the progress if I did Control S to save the code and run the command. Let's see what happens. I get my console here and waiting for my window to compile. What up, guys? There we go. I get my window here where my NPC is moving. My player can move as well. But if I type shift, my NPC stops moving and that enables my chat. So I can type something like hello. What up, guys? There we go. If I did enter, my hello is going to be displayed on my console. If I did right shift to disable my chat, I can't type anything, but my game resumes. That said, let's go ahead and exit this. Now, basically what I'm trying to do is, depending on what my player actually types, my NPC is going to reply according to his mood type stuff. Now, let's go ahead and add a void method called something like update mood. So I'm going to go with something like update mood with a pair of parentheses. My update moods method won't be requiring any parameters, but I'm going to go ahead and do something. In my chatsys class, I'm gonna go ahead and create a few variables. So I'm gonna go with a variable of something like happy count. Actually, instead of happy count, I could go with something like hello count. Let's go with something like hello count. Okay, which is going to be starting at 0, ending with a semicolon, and then an integer of a by count, which is going to be equal to something like 0. Ending with a semicolon, and then something like an integer of do I want to really add a specific count for all these? I mean, it is like the same thing, so I could go ahead and add a how are you count. Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's go ahead and paste this here. How are you count? Let's go with something like how are you question mark count, or let's just go with count, which is going to be starting at 0 as well. And then a integer of something like sorry count, which is going to be starting at 0 as well, ending with a semicolon. Now let's go ahead and use a for loop. So inside my display text on window, update mood. So I'm gonna add something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like if my happy count. Let's go with something like if my happy count is either greater than my, let's say something like sorry count. Can I use my happy count? Happy count. Did I like spell it correct here? Hello count. Okay, it is hello count. My bad, guys. This is going to be hello count. I'm going to go with something like hello count. If my hello count is greater than my by count, okay, let's go with something like by count, and my hello count is greater than my how are you count. How are you count? Okay, and then let's go with another, and my hello count is greater than my sorry count. I'm gonna go with something like sorry count. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna go ahead and set my mood to, let's go with something like my mood is going to be equal to, I don't know, something like happy. There we go, ending with a semicolon. Next up, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this if statement to save time. Let's paste it here for my angry and my sad as well. For being sad, I'm gonna check if this is by count. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy my by count. If my by count is greater than my hello count, let's change this to something like hello count. And my by count is greater than my how are you count, and my by count is greater than my sorry count, my mood is something like sad. And then I'm gonna go ahead and check if my how are you count, let's copy that, is greater than my by count. My how are you count is greater than my hello count. Let's go ahead and change this to be something like hello count. And my how are you count is greater than my sorry count. My mood is gonna be something like maybe happy as well. And then I go ahead and add another if statement. Let's go ahead and copy that just to save time. Paste it here for my last if state. Whoops. Let's go with Control Z. There we go. For my final if statement, I'm going to check if my sorry count. Let's paste it here. So if my sorry count is greater than my by count, if my sorry count is greater than my hello count, and if my sorry count is greater than my how are you count, then my mood is gonna be something like sad. Actually, let's go with something like mood is going to be angry here. I'm going to change this to something like angry. Mood is going to be sad here, ending with a semicolon. And that's actually pretty much it for my updating moods. But I gotta go ahead and add my counts as well. So now to update my counts, I'm gonna add a if statement here that is gonna be checking something. I'm gonna go ahead and check if my inputs. I'm gonna go with something like if my input text. Okay, maybe I go with something like a for loop. So I'm gonna go with an index-based for loop. Let's go with something like a void function called something like update count. Okay, with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Should I actually add my count inside my update mode? I mean, I could actually do that though. Let's do that. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this from here. Let's go ahead and paste it here. I'm gonna go with a for loop. Let's say for every integer of I which equals to 0, ending with a semicolon, while my I is less than my history. My history dot size, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's go ahead and increment my I by 1, and then I go with a pair of curly braces. Now, firstly, before I actually do add my for loop here, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's think. I'm gonna go ahead and add another if statement that checks if something like not my histories is vector dot empty. If my histories is vector is not empty, that's when I do this part. I think it's DORY. There we go. I'm gonna go with a pair of curly braces. Inside my pair of curly braces, I'm gonna go ahead and copy that. Okay, awesome, dude. Honestly, I appreciate you. In Barpu, is that how I pronounce your name? Guys, I'm awful at name pronunciation. I gotta like work on that stuff. That said, now inside my for loop, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, let's go ahead and create a standard string of last variable, which is gonna be equal to Let's say something like my history dots the back function with a parentheses ending with a semicolon. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and check something. So, what did I want to check? If my last, so I'm gonna go with something like if a parentheses, if my last equals to if my last equals to hello, then my hello count increases by 1. If my last equals to hello, then I'm gonna go ahead and increment my hello count boolean variable, actually integer by 1, so I'm gonna go with plus plus, ending with a semicolon. Just to save time, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this, paste it here, and paste it here. Next up, let's go ahead and change this to be something like by. If my user types by, then my by count increases. If my user types something like how are you, I'm gonna go with something like how are you, question mark. Then my how are you count increases, so I'm gonna go with something like how are you count. There we go. And then lastly, if my user types something like sorry, then my sorry count is gonna increase by 1. Let's go with something like sorry count. Okay, perfect. Now, once I'm done with that, what is something else that I might need? Maybe I want to go ahead and eat something because I'm kind of starving, guys. Okay, and that's actually like very much it for this. Okay, if this is the case, here's the thing. I want to go ahead and display this on my standard console output. So could I go with something like return a standard console output with an insertion operator? Okay, I can use standard console outputs here, guys. Okay, so if my mood equals to angry, then I want to go ahead and return angry at, okay, input text on my console. I think it's fine as well. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and exit outside of my method here. Let's go ahead and let's say paste something like, I'm going to go with something like another method called something like display. I'm going to go ahead and display my NPC text on Windows. I'm going to use a display NPC text on Windows method, which does require a few parameters. The first is going to be SDL underscore renders this parameter, which is going to be having it renders a local variable representing it. Actually, it renders a pointer representing it. The second variable that I might need could be something like, I don't know, let's think, maybe a TDF underscore font for my textures as font, which is going to be an asterisk to a font as pointer. What language? Honestly, it is C++. That said, my final parameter is going to be something like a floating point of scale. Okay, this is going to be a floating point, guys. There we go. Hold on, guys. Let's go ahead and change this to something like a floating point of scale. Then I add a pair of curly braces. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a color. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore colors structure, which is going to be equal to a pair of curly braces. I'm going to add a color. Let's go with 000235, which is the RGB for black. That is not transparent at all, ending with a semicolon. And then SDL underscore color is going to be having a colors with local variable representing it. That is going to be equal to my color. Okay, let's send the semicolon outside. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and create a surface for my text. So I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore surface structure, which is a pointer towards a text, actually NPC. Let's go with something like NPC text surface, okay, which is going to be equal to the TDF underscore render text underscore blended function. There we go. With a pair of parentheses. Now my TDF underscore render text blended function does require a few parameters. The first is going to be my font. The second is going to be a text. Okay, you only know C++ or any other language. Honestly, I do know Python as well. That said, let me eat something real quick. Kind of starving. Maybe I want to go ahead and create a last variable here as well. So depending on my last variable, my text. So let's go ahead and copy this part. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy that part real quick. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and scroll all the way down here. I'm gonna go ahead and paste this somewhere here. Remove my if statements from here. I just need a last variable here. That's like about it, guys. I would not need a for loop here. Okay, let's remove my for loop because I don't think I'm going to be needing it here. All I need is a last variable. Okay, equals to histories.back. So while my histories is not empty, let's see. Last is histories.back. By now, I must have something written on my histories. So I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, something feels kind of odd here. Hold up, guys. So I might not need this variable. Okay, if you can code in C++, you can code in anything. Honestly, it does sound really cool. Now I study in university and try to learn Java, but all my friends recommend me Golang. Honestly, I haven't tried Golang, but I do want to like actually work with Golang. It does sound kind of fun. That's it. Let me drink some coffee real quick. Okay, so I just created input text as variable here. Okay, because apparently I don't think my histories will be empty by here. Okay, so histories.back. Now, did I really need a histories dot? Did I like really need an if statement to check if my histories was not empty up here? Where did I do that? Let's see. There. Okay, maybe there we go. Integer of I. Did I need this? Let me think real quick. If last. If my histories is not empty, that's when I want to create a standard string of last. I mean, I think it works. Hello, I'm a beginner and struggling to learn even C language. My coding future is dead. Honestly, it's definitely not dead because when I started, I was like an absolute beginner and I feel like everything was really hard. But I would just recommend you guys to be really consistent and like not give up because eventually you guys will get a gist of it. It's better to move slow than not moving at all. Okay, hello. Okay, never just practice. That does make sense, guys. That's it. I'm going to be requiring a text here, which in this case is going to be, excuse me, guys. What text is it going to be? Maybe I go with something like get reply. So my text is going to be my get reply at index of last. This might be last. Hold on, guys. Maybe I go ahead and copy this variable, delete it from here. Hiding Usher, I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it. Let's go ahead and paste this here. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this to be last. Let's go ahead and change this to be something like last and change that to be something like last. Let's remove the slash from here. Okay, now I'm gonna scroll all the way down here. Instead of adding something fancy, I'm just gonna go with something like my get replies function with a pair of parentheses. Okay, did I spell get reply correct? Let's copy that. It requires a mood. Okay, so let's go ahead and paste this here. A mood and a keyword. My keyword in this case is gonna be my, I think it's gotta be my last, honestly. I might go with something like a standard string of last. Hold on, guys. What you making? Honestly, I'm working on like AI-based text logic in SDL3 using C++. Bro, but my classmates are in first semester and they even learned C++ DSA, bro. I'm depressed. Coding is not for me. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Few people, they don't actually like prefer coding, but I would highly recommend you to, try exploring a few different languages and like try figuring out this part that you actually like the most. It actually depends. It's like, do you like creating stuff more or do you like, doing like something else? For example, if you like creating games, I would recommend learning C++. If you like creating AIs and all that stuff, I would recommend Python type stuff. But it does depend on what you prefer the most. I'm gonna set this to be equal to history dot, let's say something like back with a pair of parentheses. And guys, I'm like way too exhausted right now. I thought I'd be able to like complete this whole code this stream, but maybe not. Could explain me more about? Honestly, technically what I'm actually trying to do is I have different moods made for my NPC up here. Depending on my user types, depending on the highest counts here. So if my buy count is the mood, then I update my mood here. So if my buy is being set the most, my mood is gonna be, let's say something like, okay. That means my mood is gonna be angry if I say a lot of buys. So depending on my user types, my NPC is gonna see the previous messages and like which message was said the most, and it's going to reply accordingly, if that makes any sense. Bro, I just need your 5 minutes, that exact procedure like lecture, then directly lead code or any book. Okay, just needed your 5 minutes, that exact procedure like lecture, then directly read code or any book. Honestly, I would say like I did not like watch any kind of lectures or like work on lead code or like read books slash documents. I did like read a bit docs, but I didn't think it was much helpful. It depends on like preference. Like some people they prefer learning using tutorials, some people prefer learning using AI, some people prefer learning reading the docs or like books type stuff. Bro, you not understand. Beginner plan, you start coding at 12 years. Honestly, I started coding at 17 years. I started like coding like 5 months ago. That's if you guys do want like my roadmap for C++, you guys could like join my Discord server. The link is in the description, and like I can like give you guys my roadmap. That said, this is going to be last as my keyword, and this is reply. The second is going to be mood, which is going to be something like my mood. Actually, my chat says mood, so I'm going to go with something like my chat says class, and then something like mood. Guys, I feel like I'm way too exhausted right now to do this. Okay, let's go ahead and remove that. Okay, so my mood is going to be my chat says mood, which in this case is going to be my mood here. There we go. Guys, I actually don't feel like writing anymore. I'm really exhausted. I've started coding when I was 8. Yo, and see, that actually sounds really cool, Storage though. Honestly, guys, I wish I started a bit sooner, but I feel like I'm glad I started when I actually started. Input text, these are going to be something like last, standard string, last, input text. There is no reason for having input text in here anymore in that case. Maybe I just go with something like mood. Alright guys, do I really want to write the whole code? It seems like a big project. Honestly, I mean, I won't say it's like really big. So far I have like written, let's see, I've written like 407 lines of code. It is something like maybe a 500 or 600 lines of code. Should I like do this next stream? I'm like really exhausted to even think properly right now. I don't think it's going to be smart to like write any much right now. Okay, now I'm 39 trying to create a startup. Oh, I see, that actually sounds kind of cool. Good luck with that, Storzo. Guys, maybe should I actually continue this next stream? I might actually do this next stream because I do not honestly feel like doing it this stream. I'm going to go ahead and use the .c string with a pair of parentheses. There we go. So I get my exact reply. Then I'm going to go with something like a comma. Let's see, my last parameter is going to be a size. I don't have a size, so I'm going to set that to be 0, and then my color is a parameter. Then I end my entire surface with a semicolon. Bro, but my college has 0 placement. Their max package is 3 LPA, but I'm from a poor family. I wanted to become rich, so what should I do? Please don't ignore and tell in detail, brother. Honestly, I'd say like the the secret to being rich, that guys, I'm not just rich yet. That's it. I do know like I feel like consistency, it like builds skill, and like people, they do like hiring people that have like a lot of skills. So I would recommend you to like get a lot of skills and experience, and depending on that, people are gonna hire you type stuff. And also, if you want to just go for the money, I would recommend cybersecurity because like it is like really demanding job type stuff. Could run the code one time to see. Honestly, I might just, guys, I was just like whining when I said that I might continue this tomorrow. I want to like complete it today. That's it. Let's go ahead and like copy this part. Hold up, guys. Let's go ahead and copy that. Paste it here. Okay, what coding language is it? Honestly, it is C++. That's it. Now, once I did create my surface, I'm going to check if it was created properly. And if it was created properly, I'm going to use the SDL_textures structure, which consists of something like a NPC text textures parameter, which is going to be equal to, let's say, something like the SDL_create texture from surfaces function. Create texture from surfaces function. Okay, and then I go with the pair of parentheses. Now, my create texture from surface requires 2 parameters. The first parameter is going to be a renderer. Okay, what about web dev or app dev? Honestly, I am going to be working on web dev maybe next series once my program for like 250 series is over, because I do enjoy, like, I do want to like try web dev as well. Where are you from, bro? Honestly, I used to answer that much, but I did like avoid saying that these are for like safety reasons type stuff. That's it. Now, once I go ahead and load a texture, I want to go ahead and get my textures width and my textures height. So I'm going to create 2 variables of textures width and height. Then use the SDL_get texture sizes function. I get my textures as size, run code. Honestly, I'm almost done. I'm going to like run it as soon as I'm like done with this part. That said, my get texture size function does require 3 parameters. The first parameter is going to be my NPC text texture. There we go. Hold up, guys. There we go. NPC text texture with a pair of parentheses. And the second, hold up, guys. I don't know why I had a pair of curly braces. My second parameter is going to be the memory address of my textures is width, and the third parameter is going to be the memory address of my textures is height, ending my function with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to set my reg.width equals to my textures is width multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon, and then reg.height equals to my textures is height multiplied by my scale as well, ending with a semicolon. And then once I'm done with all this, let's see, got my textures width and height. I'm going to go ahead and draw my texture on my window. So I'm going to go with the SDL_render texture. I'm going to render my texture on my window. This function requires a few parameters. The first is going to be render. The second is going to be my texture, which in this case, it's going to be my NPC text texture. The third parameter is going to be a source rec, which I don't have, so I'm going to set this to be null PDR. What are your thoughts about anime? And if you like anime, I honestly like anime. Guys, I absolutely love animes, but then I want to watch, I might actually start watching JoJo because many of you guys did recommend me watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. I haven't watched that yet. That's it, kind of excited to watch it because I haven't seen any spoilers, but I have heard a lot about it. That said, my favorite anime was Dragon Ball Z for a long time, but I did Solo Leveling when it was released because it was really hyped. These days I'm waiting for I'm waiting for the second and third movie trilogy for the Demon Slayer, because guys, the Demon Slayer Infinity Castle might be really fun. I honestly love the animation. Okay, now once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and destroy my textures. I'm going to use the SDL_destroy textures as structure, which consists of a texture parameter. Okay, bro, run code. Honestly, I could run the code, but then that wouldn't consist of my this method here. I could run it real quick though. This is gonna be my NPC text texture. Okay, ending with a semicolon. I think I spelled it wrong. There we go. Let's change the let's fix my typo. Then I'm gonna go with something like SDL_destroy surfaces function with a pair of parentheses that has a parameter of my, what's it called? NPC text surface. There we go. NPC text surface. Okay, and then end this with a semicolon. NPC. Okay, now if I wanted controllers to save the code and run the command, it's honestly not going to be having the NPC reply, because I did not add that part till now inside of a main function. That said, I have a mage that moves around. My player can jump using key controls, walk towards the left and right as well, right here. So if I were to hit shift, it pauses my entire game and it enables my chat. I can say something like, hello, how are you doing, Mohammed? I appreciate you joining the stream. If I were to enter, my hello gets displayed on my console, and then if I were to hit right shift, this enables my chat again, but my chat is being disabled. I mean, it disables my chat so I can't type anything, but it resets my game. Now, the thing that I was gonna do is display my NPC's conversation on my window as well. Since I'm done with this function, let's scroll all the way down to my main loop. Okay, my friend, I want to learn any tips. Honestly, the best tip that I would have is firstly, be really consistent. Secondly, follow a roadmap. If you guys do want a roadmap, you guys could join my Discord server. I could give it to you guys, the one that I used, but I would say to work on the basics really much. Okay, show me the whole code, guys. Why did the whole code get what up, guys? So, okay, why did Nightbot flag the whole word? So, okay, I don't know how to unflag it. Okay, I have not watched JoJo, but I really recommend you to watch Heavenly Delusions and Hell's Paradise. Guys, I watched both those animes. Heavenly Delusion was really fun, but Hell's Paradise were the Hollow. I forgot his name, but it was something like Hollow. I forgot his name, but then he could use some kind of jutsu and did not die type stuff. That was really fun, guys. Okay, bro, you creating a game? Honestly, yeah. That's it. Let's see now. Inside my graphics section, I'm gonna go ahead and use the chat dot. Let's go with something like chat dot, let's say, display NPC text on window with a pair of parentheses. That does require a few parameters. It requires render, font, and scale. So I'm gonna go with something like render. I'm gonna go with font. And then lastly, I'm gonna go with scale, which is 0.8, which is 80% of my original size, ending my method with a semicolon. Now I'm going to go with something like my chat dot. Let's say something like get reply, wouldn't need that. Happy, wouldn't need that. Hello, how are you? Input text, NPC replies. Okay. NPC replies player text event update mood. Okay, so I'm going to use my update mood method. Where are you from, bro? I honestly I used to like answer much, but these days I like avoid saying that for like safety reasons. That said, guys, I already forgot the methods that I gotta use. I use this method. I gotta go ahead and use my update mood method. So use update mood method and my NPC replies method. So let's go ahead and get my NPC replies method. After I'm done creating my objects here, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like storyline. There we go. I'm going to use something like chat.npc replies. Let's go with something like NPC replies this method with a parentheses ending with a semicolon. Then in my main loop, I'm going to go ahead and update my mood ending with a semicolon. Okay, and that's actually pretty much it. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens, I get my console here. I get my window here, but guys, here's a funny fact. I got an error here. I know exactly why we get this error because my vector is empty. So I got adding this thing that actually does not empty my vector. Hold up guys, I cancelled something. There we go. Okay, you ignoring? Honestly, I did answer the question. That's it. Let's scroll all the way up. The reason I got that error was because, let's see, let's scroll all the way up here to when I created a vector. So where did I create the last? There we go. Before last, I got add a if statement to check something. Let's go with something like if not my history.empty. If my history is not empty, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's add a pair of curly braces and add my last variable there. So paste it here. Okay. Now I can use last here. If you don't C++, what are you doing with your life? Honestly, I feel like C++ is pretty fun. I didn't listen. Honestly, I said that, what should we call that? I used to like answer a lot, but these days I didn't like avoid saying that for like safety reasons. That's it. Let's go ahead and remove this and paste this part here. Okay, perfect. And now I'm going to go all the way up here. If statement for loop. Okay, perfect. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens, I get my console here and I get my window here. Okay, let's get my console a bit here and my window a bit here. If I were to pause my chat and enable my chat, I type something like hello. Okay, my NPC's reply was set, but it did not display on my window for some reason. Maybe because I did not set a x-axis and a y-axis for my NPC's reply. What are you going to do next time when you go live building from a start project and when? Honestly, next time, yeah, every time I do go live, I do like work on new projects and all that stuff. But next stream, I'm not probably going to go over text-based AI logic because I have been doing this for the past, I think like 8 or 9 streams. I think I got a pretty good gist on how this stuff works. That said, I'm way too exhausted, guys. Bro, amazing. Honestly, it does sound kind of cool. Okay, that's let's see. Let me scroll all the way down here. It's amazing. Honestly, I appreciate you. I'm sure that actually means the world to me, guys. That said, now I'm gonna go ahead and let's say do something like chat.rect.x-axis is gonna be equal to my mage.rect.x-axis plus let's go with something like my mage.rect.width minus let's go with something like minus my chat.rect.width, okay, divided by 2, ending with a semicolon. How old are you? Honestly, I am like 17. That's it. I am going to be turning 18 really soon, guys. Kind of excited for that. My birthday is the January 5th. Okay, so I'm going to set my rect to be equal to my mage. So let's go with something like a mage.rect.y-axis minus my chat.rect.height minus 10, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I were to save the code and run the command and see what happens, I get my console here, and then I get my window here. Okay, now if I were to pause my chat, type something like, guys, I changed my positions, my bad. Wait, hold on. Did I mess something up here? Let me think. Instead of rect, do I have like a separate rect for my mage? Let's think. This has got to be my replies, right? Guys, maybe, I mean, I know this part is really easy to do. I just can't think. Bro, never give up. That does make sense. Explain what does your code do and when you write. So basically what I was doing up here is like I created a chatsys class. In that I added my player's reply. When my player types something is going to be shown above my player. Depending on my player type, it's going to change my NPC's moods and also like reply stuff according to the moods. when you start YouTube, honestly, I started YouTube back in 2021. Like, I've been like in YouTube for like 5-ish years. That's it. I started like my programming series like 5 months ago. Alright guys, maybe I'm way too exhausted to actually like figure this out right now. Okay, I might actually figure this out like next stream. Maybe I'm gonna like complete this code next stream, then go over the new content because I feel like but I do want to figure this out. Maybe I go to my C++ practice project, saving this code. Okay, hold up guys, let's scroll all the way up. I want to figure this part out though, friend. Why you talk so fast? Guys, I feel it's like habit. I should like start talking a bit slower. That's it. Take a breather, please. That does make sense. Maybe I drink water. I don't have water, apparently. If my mood equals to angry, if keyword equals to hello, return that. Okay. So I did something wrong in this part, and then return fall back. And then if my NPC mood, I did this. If my event type is key down, if my button is going to be pushed down and I hit return, I go ahead and check if my histories is empty, and then I go with standard string of last history.back, and then a reply of my NPC is a reply. I see. I'm pretty sure I did this part correct. Yeah, I did like this part correct. That's it. I just messed these 3 parts. How long have you been coding? Honestly, I've been like coding in C++ for like 80 days, but in general, I've been coding like for 180 days because I had like 100 days of Python series. That's it. Do I really want to do this, guys? I'm way too exhausted. Maybe I just do it, guys. Let's push a bit more. I'm almost done. Okay. I seriously don't want to do this part. That said, guys, I think I should stop whining for a bit. Let's see. Let's go ahead and push a bit more here. So under my NPC is a reply. Instead of doing this part, I don't even know what this part is. Let's go ahead and delete this thing. Before I actually add my histories on last year, I'm gonna go ahead and add an if statement. Let's go with something like if a parentheses. You talk too fast. Honestly, I should like decrease my speed of talking. Let me know if this speed is good, guys. How long? Honestly, I've been streaming for like 3 hours right now, so I feel like I can barely think much. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like if my mood equals to happy, then I'm gonna do something. Bro, take small rest. Honestly, I don't want to rest until I'm done with this because I do like gotta go to. That's it. If my mood is happy, I'm gonna go ahead and check something. Let's go ahead and check my last thing that I actually added. Okay, so if my mood is happy, is there something that I want to do? Then I'm gonna go with something like my happy at index of, let's say, something like my input text. I'm gonna go with something like input text. And then depending on that, I'm gonna go ahead and return something. Let's go ahead and return okay, depending on my text. So if I go with something like hello, then I want to reply with this. Okay, maybe I go ahead and copy this part. So let's copy that. Let's go ahead and paste it here. No, how long did you learn C++? Honestly, I have been learning C++ for like 80 days. There we go. And then maybe I just copy this whole thing, guys. I don't know why I'm copying this one by one. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Next up, I'm going to add another if statement. Let's add if a parentheses. Let's say if my mood equals to angry. This is going to be angry. Okay, and this is going to be happy. If my mood is happy, then I'm going to do something. Let's copy my happy text here. Let's copy that. Let's go ahead and paste this here. And then let's go with another if statement. I'm pretty sure this should be else if. Let's go with something like else if. 18 days what? 80 days? Like 80, guys? Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go with something like else if a parentheses. Let's say something like if my mood equals to something like sad, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's go ahead and copy my sad and then paste it here, guys. I'm too dehydrated. I probably need some water. Give me a sec. Let me get my bottle up here. Maybe drink some water. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done with this, I just have 3 kind of moods. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this method from here. Else, I'm going to go ahead and return this. Let's go ahead and return ... Okay, let's go ahead and return ... and remove that as well, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with this, and guys, if I talk like this, it's because like my nose is kind of congested right now because it is like really hot out here. Okay, and then I go ahead and add histories. Depending on my histories, I increase my count. New bit coding in C for only 18 days. Okay, I've been coding in C++ for 80 days. Or more like 80-ish days type stuff. That's let's see. Is there anything else that I need? This is to change my mood, so I update my mood here. Okay, and then when I display stuff, guys, do I really want to do this right now? Okay, let's see. I'm like way too exhausted to actually do this. It is pretty easy. I know exactly what to do. I don't want to like type it though. I'm way too exhausted. Maybe I do complete this next stream, because this stream, guys, I do not think I have the strength to like actually do this part. I thought I'm going to push through, but I feel like I can't think anything for the time being. There's just one part left. Okay, guys, since there's one part left, I think I'm going to do that one part. So let's see. This is get reply. And then I have update mood. I go ahead and check if my history is empty for update mood. If it is empty, I create a last variable. Okay, then do I need a text event? Let me think. Okay, I might need something like a text event as well, like NPC text event. After my update mood, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say remove my mood from here. Okay, you're such a good on this. Honestly, I appreciate you, Mohammed. That actually means the world to me, guys. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and create a white method, guys. I'm gonna like really rush with this part because I'm really exhausted to like move on or like continue more. So let's go with something like a white method of NPC event or NPC key or NPC events. Okay, with a pair of parentheses that does require a constant variable of my SDL underscore events structure, which consists of the memory address of my event. And then I go with a pair of curly braces. Now I'm going to use the SDL underscore key codes structure, which consists of the key variables representing it. That is going to be equal to something like my event.key.key, ending with a semicolon. And then I use a if statement to check something. I'm going to look for event type. Let's say if my event.type equals to what program is this? Honestly, it is like C++, the programming language. That said, I've been coding for like 3 hours. I'm really exhausted, guys. So I am going to be like rushing this part on because like there's one part left and I do want to like complete it before I end the stream. That said, if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore, so let's go with something like key underscore down. If my event type is key down, if any of my buttons on my keyboard are being pushed down, I'm gonna add a switch to my switch is going to be having a parameter of my key and then add a case. I'm going to check if my case is SDL's key is something like, I don't know, something like return. And I'm going to check if I click return, then I want to go ahead and do something. But before return, I'm pretty sure there's something else as well. Let's see. If I click a return, then yeah, I do want to do something. Okay, let's think. When I click return, depending on my reply. Okay, and where do you live? I used to actually say that a lot, but I did avoid saying that these days for like safety reasons. That's you're good at this. You're such a good boy. Honestly, I appreciate you, Azioli. That actually means the world to me, guys. Yeah, how long have you been coding, kid? I have been coding in C++ for like 80 days. That's let's see. So I might add a if statement, check if my histories is not empty. So I'm gonna go with something like if not history.empty. Then I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of curly braces and create something like a standard string of last variable, which is gonna be equal to my history.back, which is the last element of my histories. Then I create another variable, which is a standard string of reply variable, that is going to be equal to my get reply. Okay, now my get reply consists of a keyword slash input, which in this case is going to be my last, and mood is going to be my mood, ending with a semicolon. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add a standard console output. Did I not add a case here? Let's go with something like case. If my SDL's key is something like return, then I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay, let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, that's really good for 80 days. Honestly, is it? Okay, is this just VS Code or JDE? Honestly, this is like Visual Studio, not like Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I'm going to go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. That is going to do something. Let's see. I'm going to say some... Excuse me, guys. I'm going to say something like Mage. Go with another insertion operator. And then I'm going to go ahead and... Let's see. I might actually display my reply. So I'm going to go with something like reply with another insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. And then let's see. So once I do that, I want to go ahead and clear my reply. So I'm going to go with something like reply.clear with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. Before I do clear my reply, maybe I want to go ahead and store it in my histories as vectors. So I'm going to go with something like history dot the push underscore back. I want to push back my reply ending with a semicolon. Okay, now once I'm done with this, that should be like pretty much it. I hope it is pretty much it. NPC event, that's the thing that I gotta use. Okay, so let's scroll all the way down here. Under the event section, so under my event section, I'm gonna go ahead and do the chat dot the NPC events. I'm gonna find the NPC events is method with a pair of parentheses that does require events as parameter ending with a semicolon. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens, I get my console here, and then I get my window here. Okay, if I were to hit Shift to disable my chat, type something like hello. Debug program, abort has been called. Press retry to debug. I didn't see if my mage actually replied something. Guys, I know I'm like getting these errors because like I'm really exhausted to like think and like I skip few parts. Okay, so if I debug, I get my window here. Let's hit something like shift, type something like hello. Hit enter. That exits my program. Let's see, line 413. Expected arg line 413. Okay, so let's go ahead and exit this. 413. NPC event. So how many parameters does it require? Let's exit all this. Guys, how do I exit my debugging? There we go. Okay, just requires an event variable, but if I were to scroll all the way up here, for my event variables section, let's see, I have a history, history.empty. Maybe I like don't need these two variables up here or these two things. Show us your thing. Honestly, I just like run the code, although I want to like see something real quick. Why did I like get the reply.clear? I see why you make a bit of mistake. You talk too fast and too much. Only talk about what's necessary. Don't think exactly out loud. It exhausts you less. I see. I mean, I think I'm like exhausted because I have been streaming for like 3 hours and I like have not drank much water type stuff. That's it. So like this is my code. I want to see the error that I get again. If I were to get my window here, let's go ahead and enable my chat. Type something like hello. My mage does not reply anything. It says abort. I didn't see. I wasn't on the tab. Oh, I see. So I get this error. I get like a Microsoft Visual C++ one-time library error. Okay, plus retry. If I go ahead and ignore, I can ignore. What if I abort that? Okay. Huh. What if I abort? That exists my window. Why do I get that error? Let's think. Maybe let's go ahead and remove these two methods real quick. Hit Control S. Actually, not methods, those two conditions. I get my console here and then waiting for my window to compile. Okay, guys, might take. Why does it take so long for my window to compile? There we go. Okay, so my window is here as well. Let's go ahead and pause my chat. Type something like maybe I'm going to on my chat. There we go. Let's type something like hello. Okay, there we go. That like kind of fixes it and all that. If you can press Control C on the window, it copies it applies for almost all the errors messaged on the window. Control C. Oh, I see. Okay, that's it. Am I like doing some mistake? Guys, I feel like I'm like way too exhausted to think, so I might go to my C++ project. Let's see this part. I have the update mood, which changes my mood. Let's see. Okay, I did that part. Display text on screen. So first update mood, I get my NPC reply, and then I display it on the window. If my event type is keyed down, okay, if my event.key, standard console output. For some reason, my values are not being displayed on my window, so I go with get reply. I did everything correct here, to be honest. Maybe it's because of my stuff. I first update my mood, and then I go with standard string of get reply, okay? Although, where is it that I increase my count here? Do I have a count? I have a count. So, where do I like increase my count? Okay, so I have maps here, I have counts here. Okay, let's see, where do I go with something like count plus plus? Okay, maybe I don't add count plus plus. That's almost kind of impossible. I should be adding it. Maybe it is something like a small silly mistake that I can't see right now. Do I want to like... Guys, I think instead of just like pushing real hard, I should like probably just leave this for like next stream. Next stream I might actually complete this part and work on the new context, because today I feel like no matter how much I try, I'm going to be like stuck on this exact same part because I am kind of exhausted, honestly. That said, let's actually go ahead and get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. This is the second time I have been using this. Let me say something like, Sensei, I was still working on the stage 6 of AI-based text logic in SDL3 using C++. What's copying to be useful for? Honestly, I didn't like copy anything. I just went to my C++ project to like check if I did the same thing there that I did here. Honestly, I did do the same thing. It's probably like a silly mistake. I might have to, work on that next stream. That's it. Let me say something. I was working on stage 6 AI-based text logic in SDL3 using C++. Although I feel like I am a bit exhausted, so I am planning to end the stream. So before I do end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Okay, listen up everyone. Today was real work. Not flashy, not perfect, real. Stage 6 is where most people quit when logic starts taking back, when code stops being toys and starts being systems, and people didn't run away. They thought they struck walls, they built anyway. Exhaustion is not a failure. Exhaustion is the receipt that you actually pushed your brains. Remember this quote? Say it with me. Okay, where would we repeatedly do? Excellence then is not an act but habit, by Astorial or Astorie, is that how you pronounce it? Okay, today you saw the habit forming state, input, memory, response, consequence. This NPC is not just text, it's the first shadow of mind. When we end the stream on purpose, not on defeat. Next stream, we're going to get cleaner. The logic is sharper. State 7 is waiting. Guys, I won't be doing State 7 because that is like generated AI. I will be doing that in Python. And it does not care how tired you were today. Rest, hydrate, let the brain cool. When we come back, build something that decides. Stream ends, the path continues. Okay, that's it. Let's go to my main camera. Alright guys, so basically that was pretty much it for the stream. I didn't want to like stream for longer. That's it guys. I feel like when my college started, before my college started, I used to like stream for 5 or 6 hours a day. But I lost some of my, I forgot what it's called guys, because I'm way too like this thing to actually get words out. But what's it called, like when you do something? I lost my habit of streaming for that long. My endurance has decreased. There we go, endurance. What's the word guys? That's it, but I will try increasing my endurance because like I have a month off from college and all that stuff. That's it. If you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like, helps my algorithm, share, makes you smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. And guys, I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on Instagram and TikTok as well if I did meet the followers and requirement. So if you guys do enjoy my content, make sure to follow me. There's a link is in the description. And if you guys do want like talk to me in general or like get my C++ or my Python roadmap, you guys can like join my Discord server. The link will be in the description as well. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.